Any plans for this evening? Perhaps a game night?
It's game over, man. It's game over.
Shut up. Play the game. Play it from your heart.
26 years ago, we started playing a little game. Now, we're all gonna sit down. We're gonna finish it.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
And here we go.
Welcome to yet another episode of Dice Camera Action, where being a board game geek simply isn't geeky enough. If you want to hang with us, you got to know what I mean when I say words like depths of field, dolly, diegetic, mise en scène, or the Wilhelm scream. If you don't use words like poignant, subtext, pretentious, indie darling, gritty realism, transcend, or Oscar bait, maybe go hide in your basement and force feed yourself a couple hundred hours of art house films while prying your eyes open Clockwork Orange style. And if you don't get that reference, it's just another indicator you're not big enough film snob to rub elbows with the likes of us. So get your ear holes prepared for propulsive pontification, peculiar perspectives, and perplexing proclamations. This is the podcast where passion meets pandemonium, where playful, profound ponderings collide in a parade of potent, punchy parlance. Strap in for a parade of provocative possibilities, preposterous premises, and perhaps a pinch of profundity. I'm your pilot through this pandemonium of prose, Matt Cousineau, and if you're wondering what the hell that was all about, well, they say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So to use a few more snooty words, all of that was an homage or a tribute to today's guest, Ryan James. Welcome, Ryan.
Welcome. That you could not have led me in any better. I was like, you were going, and I was like, he's doing some alliteration. I'm like, this is feeling pretty normal to me.
What is going on?
Well done. That was fantastic. Great job on that.
Yeah. So for those of you guys who have no idea what the hell that was really about, if you listen to Ryan's podcast, the Gamecasters, a lot of his episodes start with this wacky, long, alliterative, silly and way more vulgar introduction similar to that. I probably don't hold a candle to Ryan's stuff.
No, that was beautiful. I was about to bow down to you. Oh, that was fantastic. You crushed it. Knocked it out of the park.
Thanks, buddy. I was super nervous. Like, I'm shaking a little here because I was like, I gotta nail this.
You nailed it. You started, and I was like, I don't remember him doing this in any other episode. And then halfway through, I was like, okay. Mm-hmm.
I see what's going on here.
Yeah, you got it. You killed it.
So Ryan is the Golden Geek nominated podcast host of the Gamecasters. Also the entire reason that my favorite board game convention, Nerdfest, even exists. Ryan, you're one of my favorite personalities on the planet Earth and one of the funniest people I know. And I'm honored to have you on the pod.
Oh,
so
man,
welcome.
That's great.
And my first question to you is, how was my very best Ryan James impersonation?
It was fantastic. I could feel my head. Did you see my head inflating as you were doing that?
No,
it was just blowing up
off a document. So.
Yeah. Right. Trying your best just to stay on track. No, you nailed it. You crushed it. My head was inflating like crazy. Like I got stung by a bunch of bees. It was inflating so much, and I couldn't appreciate that more. What a great way to welcome me on, and thank you so much for everything you said.
Cool. So what have you been up to? I know that, what is it now? 3 weeks ago? Where's it 2 weeks ago? We did Nerdfest.
Yeah, just a couple weeks ago. It feels like I'm still just waking up from it. You know, it was a long, great weekend, but a long weekend.
For sure. Yeah. I know.
Yeah. Still coming down off that high. Yes, awesome. It's so much work, but it's a lot of fun. It's really rewarding, especially getting people like you to come. It's like, it's just as we go every year now, it gets more and more, I don't know, more and more rewarding, I guess is the word, or more and more like set in stone. And, it's really cool to watch it grow. That's what she said.
So you've done 3 Nerdfests now in Novi, Michigan. And I know we just got back from that and we're a year away from the next one. But maybe you want to kind of plug it for anybody who might be listening who don't know what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Nerdfest. What Nerdfest is, it's a board game convention, a smaller board game convention in, as Matt said, Novi, Michigan. I don't know where most of your listeners come from, Matt. Maybe they're more in the Great White North with you, but they could be all over. You never know. It's a lot of fun. We get together. Yeah, yeah, you are. So, what it is basically just a long weekend of really just getting together and playing board games. You know, there's a lot of conventions we love, like Gen Con, that we go to. That's more about, you know, the pageantry of it all and buying games and stuff. Nerdfest is I look at Nerdfest as more of like, it just feels like a reunion for all of our friends to get together, you know, and hang out and spend time with each other and literally just play board games. We had a lot of people come this year that had never been to a board game convention. And I think this is a good first start. You know, it's like a gateway convention. You know, you go, if you've never been to one, this is a nice one to get your feet wet. You come in, you kind of see a little bit. There's a couple of vendors, you know, there's a little game library. There's some events going on. You can kind of dip your toe in and see what it's all about before you creep up to Grand Con, which is the biggest one in Michigan. And then you go to Origins, and then maybe you go to Gen Con, and, you know, then you're basically mainlining the stuff at that point.
Yeah, and super affordable too. You're not paying big bucks to play games for the weekend. The free library, which is like amazing. Like, I think that's most of what was your collection. So it's not just like throwaway games that people like didn't want. This is like a lot of like really hot, good stuff in that library.
Yeah, I think,
sure.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I think there's a lot of, you know, what would you call it? Like A titles, A-listers in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we get a lot of publisher support we got a lot this year, especially for things like the charity auction that we run, and we do a lot of giveaways. And then, you know, those same publishers and companies gave us a lot of games to then put into the library to pad the library. And we took a lot of stats this year. So we're going to be curating the library even better, even more next year. So there'll just be, you know, more localized stuff that people really like. And awesome. It's just really cool. Yeah, it's so much fun. Like you said, we try to keep the cost down for attendees to come to. You know, it's a hard sell to get somebody to spend an entire weekend if you're going to charge them, you know, upwards of $100 just for your ticket, and then you still have to travel and stay at the hotel,
and everything else.
Yeah. So we try to really keep the cost down as much as we possibly can for our attendees. You know, in part because we care, and other part because we want people to come to this thing. You know, so we're still new and young at it, so we got to try to get our way in there somehow. But yeah, thanks, man. I've had a great time doing it. It's been a lot of fun, and we're gonna make it bigger and better even next year.
Yeah, I know you guys already committed to next year, so we know for sure that Nerdfest number 4 is going to happen. So looking forward to it for sure.
That's right. Last weekend in March, and the hotel tickets are available. So once we get the website going, you know, we'll push out links and stuff everywhere, and people can get their badge.
Awesome. Cool. So, and then as I mentioned, Ryan is one of the 3 hosts of the Gamecasters, a long-running podcast, a Golden Geek nominated podcast, and one of my favorite podcasts for sure. I have a blast. It's always I always found it weird, especially the first time I came to Nerdfest and met all of you. It's weird when you meet somebody that you've heard talk for like hours and hours and hours and hours. You feel like you know them. You feel like you feel like they're your friend, but they don't know you from a hole in the wall. So it always is a little bit weird in that way. But you guys just have such a welcoming atmosphere, and you know, we became fast friends. So anyways,
sure.
I appreciate you coming on the pod. I think it's going to be a good time. And we're talking about, I think, what is one of both of our favorite movies of all time.
Oh yeah.
So we'll get into that for sure.
Very excited.
Before we do, we like to just kind of do some shout outs. So basically just want to recommend or talk about some of the movies and or games that we've been playing. Now, the nature of this episode, what we're doing specifically is we're going to talk about a bunch of games, small box games specifically. So because we're going to talk about so many games already, we're just going to keep our shout out section to a couple of movies and or like digital entertainment that we've been kind of taking in. Do you want to get us started with your first shout out?
Absolutely, I would. I'm a big TV guy, so I love movies a lot as well, of course. But I would say more than not, I'm watching some TV show, and one that I've been really excited about that I'm not sure if you watched it or not. It's got Sterling K. Brown and James Marsden, and it's called Paradise. Have you seen that one?
I've heard of it, but I have not seen it. I heard good things.
Very great show. So it's like set in like a city underground bunker kind of thing in Colorado, and it's basically like inside of a mountain, but it's set like an actual city, and it's 3 years after this like cataclysmic doomsday event happens to above the ground to planet Earth. And the show follows a Secret Service guy who's Sterling K. Brown's character as he's trying to discover who killed the president of the United States, because the president gets assassinated at like the very beginning of the first episode.
Yeah,
and so the show is basically yeah, exactly. So the show is basically him trying to kind of figure out what's going on, who killed him, because this is like a closed society and nobody's supposed to have weapons or anything. It's like, there's like 30,000 people under here and that's it. And that's like humanity.
So just to like the assassination of the president isn't part of the cataclysmic event that happened prior to this underground situation.
Right. No, the president was actually
inside. Okay,
yes.
Cool.
Yeah, it happened like in the bunker. And man, is it there. One of the episodes, it's hard to say this kind of thing because, I'm such like a cult of the new guy. I try not to be. Like, I really try not to be cult of the new, but I'm very cult of the new. I'll see something and I'm like, that's my favorite. No, that's my favorite. That's the best thing. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure exactly which version of myself is pontificating on this, to use one of the P words from your intro. But I think that I can't remember what episode number. One of the episodes, I think it's the penultimate episode or maybe the third to last, is one of the best episodes of anything I've ever seen in my entire life. It's so I don't even think me saying that to you will ruin it for you if you watch it. You'll see it and you'll be like, okay, this is wow. It's so good, Matt. Man, is it cool. Good show.
Cool. And does it feel like murder mystery-ish?
It kind of has that thriller kind of, aspect to it. It's not really necessarily like the whole thing is him following the clues to figure out what. It's not only that, because a lot of other stuff's going on at the same time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But that is definitely the overarching story that would hook people in, but it's not the only thing that's happening in the show.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it looks good. I probably just want to add it to my watch list, which is so long right now.
The long list.
So many good shows. It's like we live in this golden age of television, and I think with the writer's strike they just had, and the new deals that the writers made with the studios and all that, it sounds like there's probably going to be, and this is like. This is just anecdotal. I don't have any like hard facts or anything, but just some of the chatter that I've heard listening to other podcasts and reading some stuff is that there might be a slowdown. Like there's still going to be a lot of great television, but I think they're going to work a lot harder to protect writers and creators.
Good. That's good.
And by doing that, the natural thing will be that it will have to slow down to make sure that AI is not taking over a lot of the writing and all this other stuff. So I guess we'll see if that comes to pass. But right now is kind of golden age of television. Like,
you know what, Matt? If it does, I'm okay with that. I don't know how you feel about that. There is so many shows. Yeah, right. And every one of them is really good. You know what I mean? It's not like oh, I'm waiting for the next show to watch. It's like, how do I watch them all?
Yeah, 100%. Right now, like super top of mind, Black Mirror has a new season out.
Oh, hell yeah.
So excited for.
What a great show that is.
I'm halfway through Severance season 2, so I'm like trying to finish that as quickly as possible. It's like one of my all-time favorite shows.
Yep.
So great. Love, Death, and Robots. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. If you like,
for sure.
If you like Black Mirror,
yep.
It's also awesome.
Yep.
What's the other one? The Andor season 2 is coming out.
Yeah.
And even if you're not a huge Star Wars person,
I
would recommend Andor to anybody.
I think that's the best. You can even go back to what's the movie? The movie one. Rogue One. I feel like even if you're not a fan of Star Wars, that you have a good shot of liking that movie.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not super like there's almost no lightsabers, the Force.
Yeah, I think the only like goofy stuff is the Saw Gerrera stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think it's like you could not like Star Wars and still find something you enjoy, and then then you go to Andor after you watch that.
Yeah, and Andor especially is even further away from like a typical Star Wars thing. Like there's not a single talk of lightsabers or Jedi or the Force or any of that. It's basically a spy thriller set in the Star Wars universe, but like there's no magical anything happening. So even if you're just into like sci-fi or like thriller or like spy stuff, yeah, Andor's really great. So yeah, and that's just the ones like super off the top of my head that I'm excited about watching. And there's probably 3 or 4 more. But anyways, yeah, we're really lucky with what we have to watch on TV at the moment.
Totally.
Cool. So that was Paradise.
Paradise, yes.
Just from your spiel there, it sounds a little Silo-y. You've watched Silo?
I did watch Silo. I really enjoy Silo. Natalie's actually trying to get me to read the Silo novels.
Yeah, I read
which
the first
apparently
one.
are. I heard it's great. Did you like it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Did you watch the show?
I did. Yeah, I like the show a lot. I feel like the pacing's a little bit weird. Like
Same.
I want to say both seasons. Like there's like some middle episodes that could probably just like not be there at all.
Yep. That's my one complaint about it too. I actually almost put both that and Severance in my shout outs, actually. Both Silo and Severance almost made it in because they're very great. They're really good shows. But I agree with you completely about the pacing of
and it's
Silo.
not bad. It's not bad ever. And I love the world that they've built. And like the set design and everything they've done with that show. And I'm a big fan of now I'm blanking on her name just because I'm on the spot. But Rebecca.
Oh, the actress
Ferguson.
she's great.
Big fan of Rebecca Ferguson. So I could watch her all day long. So it's like, and Steve Zahn in season 2 was so great. So yeah, even like the slow stuff, I was still fully entertained. It just like felt it could have been a little bit tighter. That's my only complaint though. I think the show is really great and I'm excited to see. And the other thing I'm excited about, I think we talked about this on the show before, so I'll keep it quick, but I think they've announced that there's going to be season 3 and season 4 and that's it. So now they're going to plan to have an ending and it's going to be neat and tidy and hopefully it'll have the closure that we all want when we versus a show just being canceled or whatever. So they've announced that it's 2 more seasons and that's it. So
I love that.
I really like that. Yeah.
Same.
Cool. So the first thing I wanted to shout out was what was it? Oh yeah. So Val Kilmer recently passed away.
Yes. R.I.P.
Rest in peace. Yeah, the legend himself. And so, I mean, I guess kind of funny that I chose this movie to watch because I guess some people might say that he's a saint now, but I watched The Saint.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Not his best movie, but I remember liking it, as a kid or whenever that came out. And which is like I probably was a kid actually. Let me see when exactly it came out. 1997. So yeah, I was 13 years old. So I remember watching it as a preteen or teenager and thinking it was so cool, right? Like do you know the premise of The Saint?
I don't. No, I haven't seen The Saint.
So he's like an assassin or a thief or like a guy that governments hire or people like high powered people hire to like deliver tasks. It starts with a bit of a heist, but what's really cool about the way that he does it, he's a master of disguise, which sounds really silly, and it is a little bit.
Okay.
It's not a great movie, but if you want to watch Val Kilmer just do like 10 different really funny, cool characters,
I like that sound of that. That sounds cool.
It's fun. Like it's campy and it's silly, and the plot is like complicated and doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like, and it doesn't really matter even. It's just like he's like going around disguised and doing all kinds of stuff that doesn't even make sense, but it's just like so fun to just watch him cook, basically.
Yeah, right.
And so that's I chose to check that one out, and I think it was reviewed on the Rewatchables podcast. I think they were talking about it, and I'm like, oh, that's the one I'm going to watch. Because anytime like a major celebrity dies that I'm a fan of, I'm like, I'm going to go pay homage to that person and watch one of their.
I like that. I like that
works or whatever. So this is the one I chose, and if you want to watch Val Kilmer cook and just like do the like. Because that's kind of what he's done throughout his whole career in a lot of cases, is just be like these like characters, right? He's a character actor.
He sure is. A great one.
A really good one.
I mean, Tombstone is one of my favorite movies as it is, but him as Doc Holliday is one of the best things.
For me, that's by far his best performance in his career. Maybe not his best movie. Like I did like Tombstone a lot. Heat is probably his best
I think
film,
Heat is the best. Well, I mean, it's hard not to when you have the two greatest actors maybe of all time, alongside you. Yeah. But yeah, Tombstone, I agree. Tombstone's a weird one because I don't know if it's the writing or the acting. A lot of the stuff in that movie is almost a little, I don't know if campy is the word. But you know what I mean? It's got, I love that movie so much, but I wouldn't like put it up in the pantheon of, one of the all time greats. You know what I mean? However, having said that, Val Kilmer's role is chef's kiss.
Yeah, it's funny because you don't know this, but we reviewed Tombstone on the show, on the podcast, and we paired it with Western Legends.
Nice.
And it is going to be airing the week that we're speaking, though this week that we're recording. It's going to be published, so you'll be able to hear my review of Tombstone. And I don't want to spoil it, but I have similar views as you do. It felt like it's a mix of old school Western with modern sensibilities, and it doesn't quite gel all the way. Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't do one or the other super great, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
That being said, it's still like a really good.
It's really fun.
I love that movie straight up. Like,
Same.
It mostly has to do with Val Kilmer's performances as Doc Holliday.
What about Billy Bob? Billy Bob's cameo. Did you know Billy Bob Thornton's in that?
I'm trying to remember now. It's been a while since I've watched it now.
He is a portly fella. He's the guy who's running, Wyatt runs out of the, when he first arrives at Tombstone, Wyatt Earp runs him out of the Faro Club. He's like the Faro dealer at the bar.
Oh, yeah.
And it's when Doc Holliday is like, he's like, leave the shotgun. And he's like, you may go now. And he's like, all right, thank you. That's Billy Bob Thornton, which is insane.
I'm looking at pictures now. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep. That's a weird pull. It's crazy to see him look that way.
So many great mustaches in that movie. Amazing mustaches.
Yeah. A lot of good mustache men.
Cool. So The Saint, if you want to see just Val Kilmer cooking and like playing all these really fun, weird characters, you could do worse, man. It's a lot of fun. You got another shout out for us?
I sure do. This one's kind of a mashup, which is maybe a little bit of a cop out. But I say cop out because these are two cop shows that I've seen both of these several times, and I'm kind of they kind of like come around. Like I'll watch them once every like 4 years, each of them and they for whatever reason they both hit in the same year this time, and it's The Shield and The Wire. So I don't know if you've seen either of these shows. But The Shield has Michael Chiklis and Walton Goggins and Glenn Close and Forrest Whitaker. They're all in that show. And The Wire's got Idris Elba, Dominic West, Michael K. Williams. The list goes on for that show. But to give you the little, if you've never seen either one of them, I'm going to do a little, there are like some comparables here so you can understand what you're getting into. The Wire is Gran Turismo. The Shield is Mario Kart, okay? The Wire is a novel The Shield is a graphic novel. The Wire is Beef Wellington. The Shield is pizza and breadsticks. The Wire is Emma Watson. The Shield is Emmy Rossum. Okay, so it's like I want to play, read, eat, and bang both of them. But what am I in the mood for today is basically what you ask. So it's like they're both in the same genre, but they're so polar opposite from each other. And I love them both so much. The Wire is, you've probably heard of The Wire in the same conversation as Breaking Bad and The Sopranos, as one of the all-time great TV shows of all time, and it very much is. The Shield is not in that high esteem. It's almost, a little Jamesian effect. It's almost like comparable to Tombstone in a way, where it's like it's really, really, really fun. And there's some really great characters in there. Walton Goggins, talking about character actors, Walton Goggins is one of the great character actors. And his character in The Shield is I won't say how awesome he is in that show, but he is so awesome in that show. Mm-hmm. And, again, that show, like The Wire, I feel like can be studied in universities. And The Shield, you're going to just get your buddies together and, be like, all right, let's watch The Shield for an hour. And so they both have a really good place, you know what I mean, in that genre. Yeah. And I love them both so much. And I'm going through them both right now and having a ball.
So now you got to do what you just did, where you're comparing and giving analogies to each of these things, but you got to throw in Brooklyn Nine-Nine in there.
Yeah, you love Brooklyn Nine-Nine, don't you?
As the next level, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like the whipped cream topping. Again, delicious, really good. Maybe not quite as much substance as The Shield and
not to be taken too seriously. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. No, that's a great show. I was just watching actually that you say that there was a I'm doom scrolling on Instagram, and I see one of the hilarious scenes where Amy Santiago is late for work, right? You remember this scene?
Oh, yes.
And they're all like, let's all guess why she's late. And one of the funniest things, I think, again, with Holt, R.I.P., is he's like, she was at the bank. And they're like, no, you... And he's right. And he's like, hot damn. And it's like the funniest opening intro to that show. And yeah.
Yeah, and they're like,
that's
her
a good
alarm
show.
Didn't go off. And then Jake's like, all three?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I love that show so much.
Yep. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. So that's my second shout out. Oh, I know. Boyle's great. I mean, he's good in everything he's in. He's another good character actor who's good in everything. Same with Rosa Diaz.
Yes,
she's good in everything I've seen her in. She's fantastic, including she's the voice of Mirabelle in Canto.
That's right. Yeah, I actually haven't seen Encanto.
Charlie might. I think Charlie would like it. Yeah. But yeah, so that's my second shout out. The Wire and The Shield. I'm watching them in tandem, back to back, and they're just like really, really dramatic, and then really, really fun and crazy.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. My last shout out is a movie called Disappear Completely, which you probably haven't heard of.
I haven't.
It's a Spanish language horror film. I guess it's sort of a horror film, maybe a thriller. But it's about an ambitious and insensitive tabloid crime photographer.
Okay.
Who has an in with some cops and will get a text message from a cop to say get over here quick and get your photos in before the cavalry arrives. So he'll get into a crime scene before before it's even really fully discovered, right?
Sure.
And he'll take some really disgusting pictures for tabloids or whatever, right? And he'll pay off his cop buddies or whatever. And then he does that in a situation that, two people that he probably shouldn't have and didn't really realize. Basically, he ends up cursed with a mysterious illness that makes him lose one by one his five senses.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. So if you really think about it, and the first one to go is smell, and I won't go too much beyond this for spoiler reasons.
Does he know that he's cursed?
No, he has no idea.
So his smell just goes away one day. He doesn't know why. Okay.
Yeah, so he shows up at
He's got
one of
COVID.
these crime scenes. Yeah, exactly. Shows up at one of these crime scenes, and there's a body that's been there for, long enough that it should reek. Right.
Yeah.
And the other two cops that are with him are both like struggling, and one of them like, has to run over and like puke in the corner, and he's like right up in there taking pictures or whatever. And then the other two are like struggling so hard because of the smell. And then he kind of realizes, he's like, wait a minute, like what's going on?
Why am I not
here?
smelling this?
And he like leans in and he's like, and like, doesn't smell anything. So he thinks it's weird, but like,
yeah, you wouldn't freak out at that.
If it happened to one of us, to be like, oh, I must be sick or something's going on. Maybe I'll go see the doctor, but like, whatever. Anyway, so it escalates from there. And it's a little bit of a mystery. Like he's trying to figure out what's going on with a specific thing and how it correlates to what's going on with him. And it's very disturbing and very like gross, not gross in like the visual sense, but it makes you feel icky.
Yep.
Like the things that are going on and the things that he does and that kind of thing. So if you like that feeling, I don't know if this is.
I do not.
I was going to say
I am not a horror movie guy.
Movie, Ryan, but if anybody likes, if that sounds interesting to you, definitely check it out. It's Spanish language film called Disappear Completely, and it is on Netflix, so super easy to check out.
What's the last sense of his to go?
Sight.
Okay, so he and then I don't even want to know. No, I don't even want to know. You're gonna tell me no. He doesn't get cured and everything's terrible. I don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything just because if somebody's gonna, some of our listeners want to check it out. I don't want to spoil anything else, but suffice it to say, it's terrifying. Like, and it's not terrifying in that like, oh, somebody's jumping out of somewhere to stab you. Like, no, it's the idea of it, and how it's presented is terrifying and really, really well done. There's so many, especially in the horror genre, I find there's lots of really, really great stuff in the foreign language side of things that people just kind of like pass up, or it's just not served up, right? Like it's not like, this isn't something I would have like that would have come across my carousel on Netflix.
Sure.
It was recommended to me because I'm into this stuff and I seek it, right? But if you don't seek it specifically, like you're probably going to miss out on a lot of really great stuff. When Evil Lurks is one that I've talked about a lot, but it's another Spanish language horror film. Probably one of my all-time, like maybe top 5 or top 10 favorite horror movies. It's fantastic and it's terrifying, and like in a similar way that like, yes, there's some gross stuff going on screen, but you really feel gross after for having watched it.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely horrible.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it's going for. Not for me.
All right. So, as I mentioned at the top of the show, today we're going to be reviewing small box games. So, Ryan, like, I was like, I need to get Ryan on. What's a movie that I know that we both love, or what's a game that I know we both love? That's often when I have a guest, I try to think in that way. And, I remember you really loving Everything Everywhere All at Once. And it's probably a top 10 movie for me. Of all time.
It's probably top 3 for me.
No,
I love it. That it hit me that hard. Mm-hmm. I love it that much. I mean, we'll talk about it. You probably don't want to talk about this right now, but I mean, after I saw it the first time, I was like, I have to go back to the theater and do this again. I don't ever see movies in the theater, A, alone, and B, more than once. And I did both of those several times with this one.
100%. Yeah, same.
Yep.
Was a huge fan of it, so I thought, let's review that movie, and then started to think about what game could be paired with it thematically, and it's like multiverse.
How
games?
Do you do that?
Like, I don't know.
Well, there's one called Sentinels of the Multiverse we talked about a long time ago, but you had never played that, and I didn't even have a copy of it anymore. And it doesn't even really fit. It just has the word multiverse in it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a superhero game, really. Yeah. So that doesn't really fit.
Exactly. So I think it was you that said, well, why don't we just talk about everything?
Let's talk about them all
at once.
everywhere.
And so, yeah, we decided to do like a top 5 favorite small box games so that we could talk about a little bit of everything. And that would be the tie-in. And I realize it's not, a thematic tie-in, but shut up. It's my show.
Who cares? Yep.
And I'll do what I want.
Get out of here. Don't listen if you don't like it. No, I'm just kidding. Listen. Please listen.
Please listen.
Please.
So what we've done is we've decided to do 5 different categories just to make things interested and have us talk about different games, so we wouldn't, end up with the same 5 games or games that we've all heard a million times. So we're doing 5 different categories, and we're going to choose our favorite game from each of those categories, and then we'll have a handful of honorable mentions to just shout out games that we would have wanted to talk about in terms of small box games that didn't quite make our list, especially since the list is so restricted now to like these 5 categories, right? So without further ado, actually, before we do get into it, one thing that I want to start doing on the pod is, and this probably won't be a long conversation because of the theme here, but what other, and this is a question I'll pose going forward, what other games and or movies fit this theme that we could have substituted in here instead of Everything Everywhere or instead of small box games. And it's funny because since Everything Everywhere, multiple other multiverse movies have come out. But I think prior to that, I think the only super popular pop culture references to multiverses was like Endgame.
Yeah, well, I think also when Everything Everywhere All at Once was out, the Doctor Strange movie,
that's right, was like the same
was out.
time.
It was out at like the same time, yeah, which was all about the multiverse.
Yeah,
and it's funny. I remember specifically people were talking about the multiverse. People being like pundits and like reviewers or whatever, and they were like, the Doctor Strange movie is good. When I saw it, I thought it was great. But they were like, the real multiverse movie you want to see is this one, which was Everything Everywhere All at Once, which got me all juiced and amped up for it. But you're right. There's not been a ton of pulp culture movie things that I can really think of that reference the multiverse.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today, and it made me realize as I'm like thinking of what the multiverse is, right? And if we're talking about multiverse theory, for those who might not be nerds like us, we're talking about it like it's common knowledge.
Yeah, true.
But the multiverse theory is that the theory is that every single time any human being makes a decision, that every decision that person could have made splits off into a different universe, right? So, today I decided to I wanted a coffee and I decided to go to this place instead of that place for whatever reason. Well, at that moment when I made that decision, 10 other multiverses split off because I decided to go to McDonald's for a coffee in that one, and Tim Hortons for a coffee in that one, and Starbucks.
Didn't decide to go to coffee in another one.
Didn't decide to go, whatever, right? And so just from that one tiny decision, 10 universes split off. And then on the way to get a coffee, I'm like, oh, do I want a donut as well? Well, yes or no. And then 2 more universes split off, and every single decision every person makes splits off into
it's like a giant flow chart. Picture that,
Yeah, and when you say
do you
giant,
do this? Yes.
Infinite. Literally infinite, because obviously every single little decision of every human being on the planet. Anyways, so that's the theory, right? Is that there's these split off into all these different timelines and or universes. And anyways, thinking about that today, listening to another podcast about Everything Everywhere, I wanted to refresh myself a little bit about some of the themes and all that after watching it last night. And I thought movies like Groundhog Day qualify, because every time the day resets, he makes different decisions, and it's like there's a different timeline or a different universe every day or every time he resets. So those movies could sort of qualify as multiverse movies, because every different timeline that we see that he does is kind of a different potential multiverse
reality. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, those are super fun movies. Like any movie that has like the reset day or whatever. I've watched
always fun.
all of them. I like seek them out, and they're such a blast. For some reason, they never fail, even if they're
it's
bad,
always
it's
fun.
Like a good time.
Yeah.
Palm Springs is the like most recent. Did you see Palm Springs?
No.
Oh, dude, I just did you the hugest favor ever.
Yeah. Okay.
Go watch Palm Springs. I think it's even on Netflix.
Anybody I know in it, or is it a nobody?
Yeah. Jake Peralta.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Is the lead.
Nice.
And Kristen Milioti is, those are the two leads.
Palm Springs. Okay.
Palm Springs. Yeah. I think it's on Netflix. Yeah, it is on Netflix. It is on Netflix in Canada anyways. I know it's sometimes a little bit different.
Camila Mendes is in it too. All right.
Yeah. So, Palm Springs. It's a Groundhog Day-ish style movie. Don't watch a trailer. Don't read anything. Just
watch it.
Yeah, and I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are because I think you're gonna love it.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, in terms of like game, I don't think there's any real other than that multiverse or was it Heroes of the Multiverse or
Sentinels of the Multiverse?
Sentinels,
yeah, what the heck else? I mean, is there a game about bagels? I guess maybe. I don't know.
I literally was like, we could do Go because there's rocks. We could just
the
rocks or something or something with hot dogs. We could have done
Shobu
sizzle.
Sausage sizzle would have been good. There's so many different ways we could have gone. So nothing is right, nothing is wrong. Everything is meaningless. Nothing matters. Everything is the bagel.
Hitting on the themes there of the movie. All right. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into our top 5 small box games. And the first category that I have here is Trick Taker. So, Ryan, what is your favorite trick taking game?
So some of these, when I and we do this on the Gamecaster sometimes. If we did our favorites for every list, I think we'd say the same games over and over and over again.
Sure. Yeah.
So what I decided to do is I listed a few of these here. And if I were to say my favorite, I'd probably say The Crew. But I'm not going to say The Crew, even though I just said The Crew, because I just want to highlight other games that are kind of like under the spotlight a little bit or out of the spotlight a little bit. And the one I want to say this time is it's a game called Jiraku. Have you heard of Jiraku?
No.
It is a trick taker / area majority game. Very small game. Jiraku, I think it's a Japanese word that means like going to Kyoto or something like that. And so the game is basically you're controlling these daimyos and your forces are moving on this board from right to left. And to basically get them on there and get these majorities in these columns on this board, you're doing that by way of trick taking. And it's really, really interesting. It's really, really cool. It's really, really fun. And so I'm going to include that as my favorite trick taker called Jiraku, mostly because I think most people, other than probably Plurpy, don't know it or haven't heard of it.
Yeah, I'm looking at pictures now. It looks really cool.
Very cool game. Oh, there's one later that if you don't know about them, you have to buy every one of these games when we get into underrated. So I have a lot of stuff to talk about. Yeah, so that's going to be my favorite trick taker, Jiraku.
Very cool. I have a game that I have talked about on the pod before, so I won't go too deep into it. But have you played Nakosu Dice?
Oh yeah, I have. I played that with Plurpy actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So Nakosu Dice, my favorite trick taking game. I call it a heavy trick taking game because it's just like your brain is just like on fire the whole time trying to decide what to do. It's just like the bidding mechanism of your last quote unquote card or die being your bid for how many tricks you want to take. It's like your bid is a moving target and you're constantly trying to readjust to hit it. And I just love that tension. It just feels so
it's got a Skull King vibe, right?
Is
that one?
Like,
there's another
trick taking game where you bid ahead of time.
Right. How many tricks you're going to win, right?
That's right. But this is like the opposite, where like you whatever, because you have a bunch of
you don't have
dice
to
that you
decide it
draft.
right away, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So Nakosu means leftover in Japanese, I believe. And so you draft a bunch of dice that are all a bunch of different colors, the same colors as the suits in the deck of cards. So you have a handful of cards and five or six dice in front of you, and those dice are cards. So I wonder if you're thinking of minnow dice.
I might be thinking of
You're
minnow
thinking
dice.
of minnow dice.
When you said that, I was like, I actually just had this conversation with him where he was like, oh, you played this? And I was like, yeah, I played it with you. And he's like, no, it's the other one. So I might be thinking of the other one.
Yeah. Minnow dice is like, it has no cards. Like it's just dice.
Yeah, it's just dice. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. So Nakosu dice is you have cards as well, numbered 0 through 7, I believe. And then you throw a whole bunch of dice in the middle of the table, and then you draft those dice. And then you have a bunch of dice in front of you. But you can never, and each die is just the different colors, the same colors as the suits, and they just act as cards. So a portion of your cards are public information because they're just out there in front of you.
Sure.
And then the hook of the game is that you can never play your last die. So you play all your dice but one. And that last die, if it's a 4, if it ends up being a 4, that's your bid. And so you're trying to hit four tricks. Right. So if you're looking at your hand and you're like, I'm going to win too many tricks, then you're trying to keep maybe your 5s and your 6s.
Your biggest dice. Yeah.
Whereas like, oh my God, now I'm losing a bunch of tricks. What do? You try to pivot to like try to keep one of your lower dice, but then somebody leads the color of the die and you have to follow suit. So now you have no choice but to play the die. Anyways, this just like, it's so deep and so heavy for a trick taking game. It feels like every decision is the be all end all. I love it so much.
Wow. And it looks like the designer here has only designed that. Interesting. Oh yeah. I want to look this one up.
Yeah.
That's a really cool premise.
You can't get it.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe it was Jeff that was just talking about. Somebody was just talking about this, and I was like, I'll be able to find it, and I can't.
No, you can't. I think you can import it from Japan. I don't know what that's going to cost you or whatever, but from my understanding, they might even be out of stock because it was so hot, and they did a reprint at Gen Con last year. Anyways, did you buy it? No. I honestly I did a print and like I made my own. Because
that's a cool idea
anywhere. So I just went.
Just pirate it. Screw it.
I give myself a pass on that one because I'm gonna buy it as soon as I can. Like,
of course,
I'm buying the game.
It's the same thing as TTS. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. That sounds cool.
So that is a Robo Trick. Or no, not Robo Trick. I'm
Nakosu dice.
Looking at
going to your next one.
No, I'm looking at my
honorable
mentions. So that was Nakosu dice. Spoilers for my honorable mentions. Okay, the next one is a favorite big box, small box game. So what I mean by that is like, we want to cheat a little bit and include the boxes that are maybe a little bit bigger. My description here was like anything in the ballpark of like a shoebox.
Yeah.
So that was my category for you. So would you pick on that one?
Yeah, I took this to mean, really like you think of a standard size box like Wingspan or something that comes in. I think of something, smaller than that. Right. But bigger than the typical small box games we're talking about, like The Crew or Jiraku or Nakosu dice. And so I came up with one of my favorite small box games that's just a big game, and it's a blank and right game. It's Hadrian's Wall. I love Hadrian's Wall, and the new one just came out called The Anarchy, and Natalie and I played that, and it's basically the same kind of shit. It's awesome. It's just combo-tastic goodness, and I love the combo-tastic stuff in Hadrian's Wall. And if you've never heard of it, it's basically you got these 2 huge sheets of paper, and all they have on them is a bunch of boxes. All right, and if you've played a flip and right or a roll and right or any kind of like game like this, you'll know what the mechanics are. You'll flip a card each round, and it's going to give you a bunch of stuff, and the stuff you get is stuff you're going to spend by checking these boxes. So to check this one box, it might require a yellow meeple. Okay, the yellow, I might have gotten 5 yellow meeples at the start of the round. You know, there's like 30 boxes that need yellow meeples, so I'm going to kind of figure out which one of the boxes. And every time you mark a box, it like maybe gives you a red meeple, and so then you can use that red meeple to go over here and cross this box off. That gives you a coin, and maybe you use that coin to go. It just goes boom, 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 boom. It's very head down. So if you're someone like the host of this podcast here, Matt Cousineau, who likes in-your-face games, you're probably not going to really like this game all that much because it's very, you know, multiplayer solitaire, right, which I personally love. So yeah, it's one of my favorites
thing, for sure.
Yeah. What about you?
I just talked about like a heavy trick-taking game, right? This is a heavy roll and write.
Yeah. This is probably the heaviest of all the blank and write games that exist, I think. And the Anarchy that just came out steps it up even more.
Okay.
There's a few like Twilight Inscription is a little bit heavier. Okay. And Demeter, which is another game I was going to actually put in my honorable mentions. That's another heavier flip and write game. But yeah, Hadrian's Wall, I think, is the heaviest, and it's great. It's great.
Very cool. Yeah, from you guys on the podcast, ranting and raving about this for the last couple of years, I had it on my to buy list, and like, as I was like doing research and like reading reviews, and as you do, you know, found out that it was like a super heads down, almost a solo experience.
Yeah,
like, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's not for you.
How does it play? How long does it play?
That's the kind of a nice thing about it. It plays a bunch of people. I think it can play 5 or 6 players, and it's all simultaneous. So it's probably hour and a half, 2 hours. You know, because it's a heavy game. Yeah. You know, so it takes as long as it takes, I guess, to quote Peppa Pig. But it's a big beefy boy. You know what I mean? It takes a while.
Yeah, if it's a super long heads down game, it probably doesn't fit my.
No, I don't think preference. I don't think it's going to be in your wheelhouse at all. Yeah, unfortunately,
I don't mind a heads down like no interaction game if we're under an hour or whatever. I'm totally fine with that. But when it gets to an hour and a half to 2 hours, I'm just like I want to interact and I want to care what people are doing and stuff. But
sure,
I've heard nothing but amazing things. So if you're if what that description interests you, I've heard nothing but amazing things about Hadrian's Wall. My big box, small box game was Beer and Bread. So, that's a game, talking about player interaction. It's a game with not that much player interaction, although like you're switching your hand with your opponent and drafting cards out of it. So there's a little bit of interaction there. And there's some positive player interaction in that, like, I guess I'll explain what the game is. So essentially it's a 2-player only game where we are both have a bakery and I'm not a beer guy. What's the term for like a brewery, I guess? So you're baking bread and making beer and then fulfilling contracts. So it's very much just a resource management game is probably the primary thing. And then the really neat thing about this game is that the cards, so there's this big deck of cards that you shuffle up, you deal out 5 cards to each player, and then you take one of those cards and then you use it, and then you pass the other 4 cards to your opponent, and then it just goes back and forth, and you're drafting basically cards out of that hand. So you're trying to plan ahead, but sometimes the card that you want doesn't come back to you. So you have to be kind of flexible in that way too. But the thing that I find really neat about this game is that the cards are multi-use. There's 3 different ways to use each card. One way to use the card is to get resources. So if you need resources, you just put the card down in front of you, and then it'll provide whatever resources are printed on the card. Or you can choose to, if you have the resources, it's either a beer or a bread card. There's 2 different types of cards within the deck. And if you have the resources to fulfill the contract, you can do so and bake the bread or brew the beer, and then that'll get you endgame points. Or you can, at the very bottom, there's end game stuff. And it might say like score XYZ for each X kind of bread that you have at the end of the game. And then you tuck those under the board. So you can either use it for, end game stuff. You can use it for a contract, or you can use it for resource, to gain resources. And then you have a storage shed basically with 9 spaces to hold resources, and you cannot hold more than that. So if you try to take resources and you would go over that 9, you have to choose which ones you want to keep, and then you offer the resources you have left to your opponent. So you really want to be careful about your resource management and using your resources properly. Otherwise, you're giving your opponent resources, and in a 2-player game, that's huge, right? You're giving them a big advantage by giving them resources that it's a zero-sum game, right? It's that kind of thing. So and then at the end of the game, and this is one thing that I find really neat too, is that you've brewed a bunch of beer and you've baked a bunch of bread. I'm like having to be really conscious and careful about not saying brewing bread and baking beer. Every time I've been like, am I saying the right one? Anyways, you count up all your points for bread and all your points for beer, and you score the lowest one. So it's one of these things where you kind of need to build evenly, because whichever one you did the worst at, that's your score. That's your end game score. So yeah, it's just a really neat little Euro game. It's not super long. It's like probably under an hour. And there's lots of really interesting decisions and tough decisions when it comes to like using those cards. And there's a finite amount of resources available too. You alternate between like abundant years and dry years, I think they're called. So in abundant years, there's like all the resources you need basically, and in dry years there's a super limited amount of resources. You have to be very careful about what resources you're getting and contracts to try to fulfill and that kind of thing. So yeah, really really great game. If you play 2 players at all and you want something a little bit meatier, because I find a lot of times in 2-player games, or when you're sitting down with just your spouse or whatever, you're often not necessarily playing heavier games.
For sure.
So it's nice to have a game that plays under an hour, but still with a lot of like really interesting decisions to make. So that's Beer and Bread. Have you played?
I have. Yeah, I have played Beer and Bread. We reviewed it on the show.
You don't like it, right?
No, I do like it. I do. So okay, the kind of story is I was really amped up because a mutual friend of ours, listener to the show, Shelly, who's actually been on your show.
That's right.
Actually, she gave this game a perfect 10 out of 10. She was like, this is it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. I'm so excited because I'm always looking for a 2-player only game to play with Natalie. We were always looking for those games. And right. I was like busting out of my socks. I was like so excited. That's not a saying, I don't think. But no. I was jumping out of my socks a saying? Sure. Is there a saying with socks? I don't know. I don't know. That's not like just like boy in the bedroom. Anyway, so I was really happy with my sock, and I went out and bought Beer and Bread, and I played it, and I think I just was expecting that, because until that, every game that Shelly had mentioned, I was like, yeah, I love that game too. I feel like we have very similar tastes. And then I played that, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's all right, it's good, I like it. And what am I missing? I'm missing something. So we played it again, and I was like, I know what I'm missing. It's just not really for me. I did like it. I thought everything that you said, all the mechanisms, I thought were really interesting and really cool and really fun. Natalie liked it a lot more than I did, which I still did like it. I just kind of good not graded it, I think.
Right. So when your expectations are so high.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to. I think I was like I wasn't like let down by Shelly. I was just really like expecting to feel the same way, because a lot of games that she likes I felt similar to.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, this is gonna hit for me. I just know it is, and it just kind of let me down. And yeah, but that being said, I do remember all the things you said that you liked about it. I liking that as well. I really thought the idea of you can only have 9 resources, and then you can take this action that kind of gives you a windfall of resources because you
Mhm.
really need that one hops or whatever.
Yeah.
But
That's
you're
the
going to have
worst when you
5
need
left
one
over. And,
thing.
and you got to give all of these other resources to your opponent. And so you're like,
so painful.
well, I still really need to do that. So shouldn't I? But like, I'm going to, so yeah, I like those decision points. Those are some, and me and Jeff talk about this on the podcast all the time. Our favorite kind of decision points are the ones that both decisions are agonizingly good.
They're both good.
Like, like I really like this, but on the other hand, I really like this. How do I reconcile which one is better?
Mhm.
And sometimes you can't. You just have to make a choice. And that's the juice. That's like where I find the milk from the teat of games is right in those decision spaces. So good game.
Very cool. All right, so our third category is favorite small box games. Small box games with a heavier game, so with like heavy decision spaces for a small box game.
There are a lot of games I could put in this category. I was going to go with a game. Have you heard of Wir sind das Volk?
No.
So the only reason I'm going to talk about this for like 2 seconds. The only reason I'm not going to talk about this is because I don't feel like I could adequately explain it to the listeners other than saying it's kind of a small box version of Twilight Struggle. If you've played Twilight Struggle. It's like a card driven game and it's themed in, East versus West Germany. It takes place in like 1989, fall of the Berlin Wall kind of stuff.
Okay.
And you're dealing with a lot of interesting but heavy heavy themes in this one, and the mechanics kind of mirror that. You're like, there's like civil unrest you have to watch out for, and there's a lot of push and pull. If you've played Twilight Struggle, you'll understand the push and pull kind of mechanisms.
Right.
And so that one spoke to me first as what a really great heavy game. But the actual pick, are you familiar with Carl Chuduk? I mean, of course you're familiar with Carl Chuduk.
Yes. Yeah.
So you could pick Glory to Rome in this spot. You could pick Innovation. You could pick Motainai. But I think I'm actually going to go with one that might not seem as heavy to you. And it's not heavy, but it's a game called Red 7. And now, have you ever tried to explain Red 7? Yes.
It's so messed
yes. It is like, it's like when you play the game, you're kind of like, okay, this is like a nice little easy card game.
No.
And then if you have to explain it to somebody, your brain explodes or melts or it does some, supernatural thing other than just staying intact inside your head. And it's like, you want to win, but you can't. You have to be winning at the end of your turn. And if you can't, then you lose, but you can change the rule also. And so where the depth, I think, lies in this one. Well, let me go back. So the way this game works, oh God, here we go. I'm doing it to myself. It's called Red 7 because the game is a deck of cards that, all the cards come in a bunch of colors and a bunch of numbers. And the numbers go 1 through 7. And the colors are, I don't know if they're the colors of the rainbow or there's just a bunch of colors, right? The best card in the game is the Red 7.
Shocker.
So you always break, you always are looking for strength of cards in number. And then if you have the same numbers, a color rank comes in. Okay, so my 7 orange will beat a 6 of any other color. But if I have a red 6, that will beat an orange 6. Okay, and I think there might be 7 colors. There's a bunch of colors. Okay, so that's the basis of the cards. And then each card also has a rule written on it. Like have the most of one color in front of you. Okay, that's what all the, the green cards will say. All the blue cards will say, the rule is, I have the most odd numbered cards in front of me. Mm-hmm. The red cards say I have the highest number in front of me. And so all these cards have rules. At the very beginning of the game, everyone gets a hand of cards. And in the center of the table is the main rule that says the highest card wins. Okay. It's a red, basically starting card.
Rule,
yep.
Yeah.
So you deal everybody cards, and then everybody also gets one card face up. Whoever has the highest card showing starts the game. And by highest card showing, remember, that's highest number unless there's two numbers that are the same, in which case you go to color and break color. All right. So if I get dealt the red 7, I have the highest card in the game. I'm going to start playing. On my turn, I'm going to play 1 or 2 cards. You want to probably play 1 if you can, because the whole goal of the game is to be the last one with cards. You're trying to knock everybody else out by getting them to play all their cards. And if you play all your cards or you can't make a play, you're out. And you want to be the last one standing. So on my turn, I had the high card. Actually, I think it's the player to the left of that player. I see. I'm already like. So as the game starts, whoever has the high card, boom, I'm winning. I'm currently winning. So I have the red 7. Let's say Matt's to my left. Okay, Matt starts now. Matt now, on his turn, must play cards so that he is winning based on the rule in the center of the table.
So at
now,
the
we
end
already
of my
said
turn, I have to be in a winning position.
you have to be in a winning position. Exactly.
Yeah.
So if we already said the red 7 is the highest card in the game. So if the rule in the middle of the table says high card wins, and I have the red 7, Matt cannot play any card that will beat that. So what he has to do is do the other thing you can do on your turn, which is you can change the rule. Before you play a card to your table, you can change the rule. So Matt has a card down. Let's say his card is the 3, yellow 3. Okay. So he maybe says, okay, this yellow 3, a 3 is odd. Ryan also has a 7 that's odd. But what if I change the rule to the most odd cards? Okay, so I'll play that. So he plays a blue card to the center of the table. That changes the rule from high card wins to most odd cards wins. And then he can also then play a second card from his hand to the table. So he plays a green 5. He now has a yellow 3 and a green 5. The rule says most odd cards. Well, he's the first player of the game. So he has 2 cards. Everyone else has 1. Guess what? Matt's winning now. Mm-hmm. His turn ends. It goes to the next player who now has to beat Matt.
Find a way to be winning.
Yeah. How is he winning? So if he has a 1 in front of him and he has a 5 in his hand, he can play the 5. And if the 5 is a higher color rank than Matt's 5, they would be winning. Yeah. And then you play that 1 card, that's all you do, and then you go around and around. So that's the game. And it sounds, maybe it probably doesn't sound simple after I just explained it. It takes, the learning curve in this with all Carl Chudik games is lengthy. It takes about, probably an entire game before your brain wraps around what you're doing. And then once it does that, there's so much more to explore, because at first you're just trying to keep your head above water and win any way you can and not be out. There's a lot of times where you're just staring at your cards and you're like, there's nothing I can do. You know what I mean? But then I'll look at your hand and be like, no, Matt, just play that. Oh, yeah, okay. That's how, there's so much, crazy chunky overhead going on. But once it clicks, which it usually does after the first game, then you just rattle them off one after the other, and you can just play forever, and it's so much fun. Yeah. And again, then the little intricacies of the strategy start to open themselves up to you, where you start to realize things like I was saying earlier, okay, you really want to try to only play 1 card out of your hand if possible. Yeah. And so, you don't want to waste cards in your hand, but sometimes there's also better opportunities to play 2 cards than play 1 card, because you know what other people have, because you can start to deduce what's going on, as cards come out. So then once the round ends, whoever wins that round, this is what's crazy. Whoever wins the round collects all cards in front of them that were used in the rule that they won by. So let's say I put that card out that said most odd cards wins, and I have I have a 3 and a 5, or Matt has a 3 and a 5, and nobody else can play. No, we can't beat him. We can't change the rule. It's over. Matt would he won with the rule that said odd cards are the winner. He has 2 odd cards in his hand or in front of him. He takes those cards and puts them underneath his player aid. Those are his points for the round. He just scored 8 points, 5 plus 3. And now those 2 cards are out of the deck. So then you take all the cards back and you deal and you start over. So that keeps happening. And so I think you have to win, it's 50 points maybe, or something like that. Whoever gets first to 50 points ends the game. And Woo! It
My
is
very
tricky.
first game of this was with non-gamers.
Oh, no!
So that was like a mistake. It was really. I'm like, oh, it's this cute little.
It's so easy.
Card game, it couldn't be easier. No, yeah. So that was a mistake, and honestly, I played it twice that night with those folks, and like, it was a little bit painful.
Disaster. Yeah.
And I was starting to see it. I'm like, okay, this could be really fun with the right group, but
Yeah.
I never got it back to the table after that. So I definitely.
Oh man, we'll have to get it. Maybe we'll try to get it going next Nerd Fest, because if you with gamers, it's great.
Right.
It's really, really good.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's it for me.
Cool. So I cheated a little bit here because this game is a little bit bigger than a small box. It probably
I know what you're going to say.
The category of big box, small box game. Yeah, guess it.
The White Castle.
It is the White Castle.
I knew it.
I flirted with the idea of doing Red Cathedral as well.
Yeah.
Both great games. But I specifically chose White Castle because not only is it sort of a small box game, and the other reason why I think it fits is because it's like inexpensive, right? Like these games are also just like 25, 30 US dollars. Or not much more than that if it is. But yeah, it's like super affordable, and the amount of game you get in
it's crazy.
Smaller box is amazing. And not only that, it plays in a short amount of time as well.
Very quick.
So it plays in like, if you've got, let's say 3 people that have played at least once, you're probably in and around an hour. If you're teaching it to 2 new people, you're probably hour 15, hour and a half at the most. So it's like, it gets done quick, and each player gets 9 turns, for the whole game, and that's it. But basically it is, it's a dice drafting game. I'm not going to go too much into the, it's just like, it's a heavier game, for a small box game. So I'm not going to go too much into the mechanics, but there's basically 3 bridges, a yellow bridge, a white bridge, and a black bridge. And you roll a bunch of dice and you put them on this bridge in numerical order. And then you have to choose either the lowest or the highest, die on one of the bridges. And then you can then take that die and place it on one of the kind of worker placement locations. And then those locations all have a prerequisite in terms of what number die has to be there, but you can pay the difference. So if it's a 6 and I'm placing a 5, I can pay 1 coin to use it. Or if it's a 2 and I place a 5, I actually gain 3 coins by doing that.
Right.
So that's one of the neat mechanisms. But basically, yeah, it's dice drafting, dice as workers with some engine building. It's a beautiful little game, and it's very, very, for the amount of time that you're playing and for the size of the game, there's just a ton of game there. And, it's one of these games that, and I think it hits the sweet spot there, but like when it's done, you feel like you just wanted one more round.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just like perfect, because you don't want a game to overstay its welcome. You want it to fall just shy.
You don't want to be able to do everything. As much as you feel that's what you want, you don't want that.
You don't. No.
You don't want to be able to do everything. You're right. That's the best kind of tension design that a game can have. It's like you always are craving, just one more turn. I would have been able to do that. But you don't want that.
Yeah, I'm a strong believer in the idea that people do not know what they want. Honestly, when it comes, especially when it comes to like art, and when it comes to experiences, people often will say that they want a specific thing, but in most cases, like people don't know what they want until they like get served something, whether it's a movie or a game or whatever, and they're like, oh, this was great. I didn't know I wanted this,
Sure.
So yeah, White Castle, and the same designers made Red Cathedral, which is also a exact same size box. Probably a little bit longer in terms of play, but not really any more complex. Tons of game in a box that is like very affordable and not huge. So big fan of those two games. They get to the table quite a bit.
I love the White Castle. Unfortunately, Natalie doesn't. And that was a big bummer because typically when we play, one of us I would say more often than not, we have the same opinion more often than not, which stands to reason because we're very similar.
Mm-hmm.
But once in a while, something will really hit for her and I will hate it. Twilight Inscription comes to mind for that. And even more rare is one that I really love that she hates. And the White Castle was one of those, which was really sad because I loved this game.
So good. Yeah.
Great
pick.
pick.
And you're a huge fan of like Japanese culture, right? Too. So
yeah, love it.
Is a big, big boon for you.
It is. Exactly.
Very cool. Okay. Number 4, favorite co-op game. I have a feeling we might be on the same page here.
Well, we probably would have been, but again, I'm trying to highlight some lesser known games. And so the one I decided to pick is a game called, it's an older game called Space Hulk Death Angel.
Okay.
Have you heard of this one?
No.
This is, I wonder if you can even buy this anymore. I wonder if I should even talk about this. I don't know if you care about, touting games that people can go out and get.
Yeah,
but
I already
Space
talked about Nikosu Dice, which you absolutely
true.
Get,
I guess you can't get that. That's true. Well, if you can definitely find Space Hulk Death Angel in the secondary market, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
This is a little box card game that's supposed to kind of mimic it's like Space Hulk the board game. And so basically what this is you have a line of Space Marines. I don't know if you're familiar with 40K lore or anything like that.
Not at all.
But yeah, the Space Hulk is like a ship. Okay, it's like a big ship in outer space.
Okay.
And these aliens invade it, and they're called Gene Stealers, and they invade this ship. And you, as the heroes, play these characters called Space Marines, and you're fighting these Gene Stealers. Okay, it's a very basic of the theme. In this game, so this is like the most punishing game. You have a vertical line of your Space Marine cards. So each Space Marine team, so if me and you are playing together, we each have a team of 3 Space Marines. No, I'm sorry. We each have a team of 2 Space Marines. And so these Space Marines go in a line, a single vertical column, and they're either facing to the left or facing to the right. And on your turn, you have one of 3 actions you can do. You can move, which is basically just changing spaces in that line with you. Or you can attack. Eventually, Gene Stealers will come out and they'll be next to some of us, next to this vertical line. And you can only attack which side of the line you're facing. So if you're facing to the left, you can only attack on that left side. If you move, we take the move action, you can move and you can change your facing. And then the third thing you can do is a support action, which is every Marines team, like every team has a different support action. And they're, interesting, really interesting things. But so the whole point is to just survive until the end of, it's like you play 3 or 4 levels to this ship. And you can die, Matt, on the first floor in 10 minutes. It's so easy to die. Basically, when you attack a Gene Stealer, you're rolling to hit, and it's just one die, and people call it. It's like, what's that? Have you played Small World?
Yes.
You know the die in Small World that people call the die of rolling blanks? That's what people call it. It's like a single die that's in there. And they call it that just because you seem to always roll the blank. Space Hulk kind of has this kind of same thing. It just always seems to go wrong. Because if a Gene Stealer hits you, you're dead. You're just completely dead. There's not you don't have hit points and stuff. I'm pretty sure it's been a while since I played now, but because Natalie hates this one too. But I'm pretty sure if you get hit once, you're dead. And so, we have a team there's 4 of us, and we can take 4 hits. So we really have to be strategic about how, we go about positioning our units, our Marine or Space Marines. Thank you. And it is really fun. It's really, really thinky and it's cooperative. And I love that. So that's one of my favorite ones ever. Space Hulk Death Angel.
Cool. Would your game have been the gang?
Yeah, I think if I were to have just said a game, I probably would have picked the gang. Or have you played a lot of Edo Rainbow?
Yeah, a good amount actually, and we've talked about it on the pod here and there too. Yeah,
I think I would have gone somewhere between the gang or Edo Rainbow or another one I really wanted to talk about called the Ravens of Three Sahasri, which we can talk about that off pod. But I think you would like that a lot too.
Okay.
So are you going to go with the gang then?
Yeah, the gang, the crew are both great. I love trick-taking games. I love poker. So those are like both those games. I mean, we don't need to go into it. We've talked about it a ton on the pod. I've recently also played the Lord of the Rings trick-taking game.
Same.
And, you know, my very first impression is that it might replace the crew.
Okay.
However, because of the what's the word I'm looking for? The when a game like has progression in it, it's a campaign, the kind of campaign nature of the Lord of the Rings version. I don't know if it has like the longevity or the replayability long term that the crew has.
Yep. I agree with that.
So I guess we'll see. But, you know, my first impressions after playing probably, I don't know, 10 chapters of the Lord of the Rings is that it sort of replaces the crew. Just I'm a big fan of the IP as well. So it's just fun to have that theme in there. And the drafting of the characters, I find a really neat. And I wonder if I haven't even thought about it till just literally this moment, but I wonder if there's a version of the crew where you could like draft your goals right based on your hand. It's probably would make it too easy, but anyways, I just like that part of the Lord of the Rings version where you're drafting characters based on your hand. That it adds an extra layer of strategy and that sort of thing. So we don't need to talk about those games. We've talked about them quite a bit on the pod before. So the gang, the crew, or the Lord of the Rings trick-taking game all kind of fit here for me. In terms of like co-op games in general, as you know, like I'm a huge fan of high player interaction games, and it doesn't necessarily mean that I want to like mess with your stuff. I just want to I want what you're doing to matter to me when it's not my turn. And these games do that, and like the staying away from co-op as a general rule for me is typically the co-op games where it's like, oh, we all kind of discuss what we want to do and we make a decision together. Any game that that has any quarterbacking in it, I just like really have a hard time with. But co-op games with like limited communication or secret information that everybody just has to like figure out the best way to do it based on what we're doing on the table and how we're playing. Those have like recently kind of opened my eyes to the co-op side of gaming a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff out there. You played Hanabi, I'm sure?
I have not, no.
Okay, you might like that one too. That's like limited information where you see everyone else's cards, but you can't see your own.
It's like fireworks themed or something, eh? Is that the
right?
One? Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, it's an older one. Good one.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, last one of our categories is a favorite underrated game. What you got for me?
All right. This is the one. I mean, there's a chance you're going to be like, of course, I've played all those. I know them, or I hate them, or whatever. Are you familiar with the publisher Small Box Games?
Like there's a publisher called Small Box Games?
Yep. The publisher is called Small Box Games.
No.
The designer, the owner of the company's name is John Cloudus, and he puts out all the games he puts out are basically 2-player only head-to-head card battler games.
Okay. You have my attention.
Yeah, this is right up your alley. There is, I think his most famous one, and I say most famous because this is definitely underrated. These games are, if you look at them on Board Game Geek, Omen, Reign of War, or the one I'm thinking of the most is called The North. They're going to be rated, 6.8, 7.0, which is not low. It's not low, but it's also not high.
Yeah.
So you would, a typical person who's looking for something on BGG to play might see 6.8 and be like, well, that's not, I'm going to overlook that.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, these games are, gosh, they're like nothing you've played. This guy, John Cloudis, that designs them, has this way of designing games that his brain works differently than everyone else that I've seen. And I think that might be part of the reason these games aren't rated highly. They're definitely a little left of center.
Right.
And the way they go about, like, you think of 2-player head-to-head battler game and you're going to think like Star Wars Destiny, right? And it's not like that. They're very different. Most of the cards are all multi-use, which is really cool, which is a way he gets away with, doing these really small print runs that are, he can put out a lot of copies because he gets a lot of use out of every card. And the art on them is always so cool, and the quality is really good. And Matt, I think you specifically would really enjoy some of these, like Omen, Reign of War, The North,
That's
The
what I'm
West.
looking at now, yeah.
Yeah, these are some really cool games that I think where I know Hadrian's Wall is not your bag. And like you were just kind of saying, cooperative games typically aren't your bag because of the, hey, let's all make a decision together. I think this publisher, Small Box Games, could potentially really hit for you.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out for sure. It sounds interesting.
Check it out. Yeah, lots of really cool games in there. So that's my underrated pick, is anything by Small Box Games, specifically Omen or The North.
I'm definitely a fan of weird games. Like Carl Chudik is a perfect example, right? Like his brain is broken in a good way.
Yes.
That like I just don't understand how the games that he makes, like how does that come from somebody's brain?
Completely agree.
So yeah, if you're saying these are left to center and a little bit weird, if they work well and they're mechanisms that make you look at a puzzle sideways to be like, how the heck, to give you that kind of feeling. That sounds interesting to me for sure.
Very cool stuff. And the cool thing about them, I mean, they're tiny. These are tiny footprint games. You know what I mean? So you're not spending $60 to try to just take a flyer on something that, is rated 6.8. You go to his website, you're spending $20 and boom, you got something that does not exist in your collection anywhere else, I assure you.
Very cool. Okay. Yeah. Excited to go down that rabbit hole. Thanks, Ryan.
For sure. Yeah, man.
Costing me money here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so my favorite underrated small box game is Tiny Epic Western. Have you played the Tiny Epic games?
I think I've only played Tiny Epic Galaxies and Tiny Epic Western.
Okay, so you have played Western.
Of those, I have specifically played Western, yes.
Cool, yeah. This was one of my first, hobby game purchases.
Wow.
So probably somewhere around 2018, 2019, somewhere in there. It was always a board gamer, but to get into the meaty hobby games and get more into the that side of things, Tiny Epic Western was one of my first purchases when I went to Minneapolis, Minnesota for the Star Wars Destiny Worlds.
Oh, right. I forgot you went to Worlds.
Yeah. And I
That's so
placed
cool,
in
man.
the top 50, I think it was.
Damn.
Pretty cool. So anyways, I bought that at the store where the Fantasy Flight store in the at the venue. So yeah, Tiny Epic Western, Tiny Epic Galaxies is probably their quote unquote best game. It's the cleanest, best designed game.
Also the first, I think.
Epics, and yeah, it was the first. I think you're right. And it's so good. Tiny Epic Galaxies is excellent. Though Western is my favorite because a little bit because of what we just talked about, is that it's a little bit different. It's a little bit weird the way that it plays, and I find it to be a little bit difficult to even grok, even for like experienced board gamers. It takes a minute. It takes a couple of rounds for you to be like, oh, okay, now I fully get what's going on here. It's not complicated. It's just a little bit different. And yeah, the theme is fun. The table presence is really cool. It creates kind of this wagon wheel effect on the table with the cards and the little like town buildings. Yeah, I'm just a big fan of this game. It's a worker placement game where basically there are 5 or 6 buildings placed around the table. And we already mentioned that I like poker, and I know you do as well. So poker has a huge part in this game. So if you enjoy poker, then you know that it helps. But essentially, you then deal face up 1 card in between each building. And then each building there is a poker game going on at each building. And they're just 2 cards or 3 card hands? It's 2 card hands. You're just trying to.
I don't remember. It's been forever.
I think you're just trying to make the best 2 card hand. Using the 2 cards that are on either side of a building, plus whatever card you have in your hand. So, and you only have 1 card in your hand. You're dealt 1 card. So if I have, the 5 of and the suits are not even like normal suits, they're just like Western themed whatever, like horseshoes or whatever. So if I have the 5 of horseshoes, and there's 2 5 of horseshoes on either side of a building, I have, those are community cards. I have 3 5s at that building. So what I'm going to try to do is put one of my meeples at that building, get whatever effect I get for doing that. But at the end of each round, you're going to go building by building and resolve the poker games at each building. So for this building specifically, I've put my meeple there. Anybody else who put their meeple there thinks maybe they can win at that place, but they have a different card than me, obviously. So they're putting their meeples at different spots. And often, because it's a super small deck, I think I said 5, but I'm not even sure the cards go to 5. But it's a super small deck, and it creates a lot of conflict in terms of like, I think I can win here. Oh, I think I can win here as well. And then to add to the like complexity and like fun to it is there's a spot on the board where you can put your meeple to change your card, to cheat basically. So you could put your meeple there, and that spot says that I can make my card 1 higher or 1 lower, or I can make this suit 1 higher or 1 lower, and the suits are ranked as well. So because there's so many ties and so many situations where like, oh, we both could win here, changing your card is often really valuable. But the other layer on top of all this is that there's gunslinging happening. So if I go to a spot because I want to change my card, somebody else also wants to change their card, they can go to that same spot, but it creates a duel. So then we both grab the duel dice and we roll the dice, and they're like little bullet shaped dice.
Yep.
And everybody has like individual like asymmetric player powers that do different things. So if you win the duel, you get to stand your posse up, and you're the one that gets to change your card and not them. So there's all sorts of fun stuff going on there. But yeah, Tiny Epic Western, I feel like it doesn't get the love it deserves. It's not as good as Galaxy, but it is my favorite of the Tiny Epic games.
Awesome. I really don't remember. I remember I played it 1 time.
Right.
I remember liking it. I remember thinking that card mechanism was kind of cool, and never played it again. So I take your word for everything you said.
Cool. Okay, you want to run down a couple of honorable mentions? We're going a little long here already, so we'll keep it to just a couple.
Yeah, sure. In the trick taker category, have you played Aurum?
I own
Aurum.
I own it,
I
and it's on my
like
shelf of
that
shame.
game a lot. It's really cool. You can play it like 3-player and 2-player, but it really shines once you have teams. So you can play like 2v2, and it gets really, really fun. I already talked about Demeter as a favorite big box, small box game. That's a flip and right game. I really love Blank and Rights, and that's a fantastic one. Forest Shuffle is another one for kind of, I guess, bigger box, small box. I don't know if you've played Forest Shuffle. Yeah. I love that game. That's a fantastic one.
Yeah.
Ravens of 3 Sahasree is a cooperative game I talked about. I know, weird title. 3 Sahasree is THRI and then Sahasree. Okay. It's this like, it's kind of like if you are into anime at all, or any kind of like interesting kind of like, you know, Japanese themey kind of stuff like that. It's basically one person is dreaming and the other person is trying to wake them from the dream before they basically succumb to this, like, you know, demon thing.
It's very pretty.
And it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's got some very asymmetric stuff going on. So it's 2-player only, but you're doing a completely different game than I'm doing, and we have to communicate with each other to understand how to get rid of these birds, and it's just really interesting. And there's even little legacy stuff in it after you finally win, which you won't forever because it's really impossibly hard. And then once you do, you open an envelope and it gives you other stuff to do, which is really freaking cool. And then for another underrated one, I would say Acrotiri. Have you played Acrotiri?
No.
Very, very good game by some of my favorite designers, Sen Fung Lim and Jay Cormier, and who have done games like Belfort and Junk Art. Jay Cormier actually put out Mind Management a couple years ago.
Okay, and that's where I recognize the name.
Sure. Yep. And Acrotiri is really, really fantastic. Explorative tile placement game where you're trying to discover these like temples and stuff. And it's basically just like your perspective that you see on a card. Your goal card will have like, okay, I need a blue gem to the left, a green gem to the south, and a red gem to the right. And if you build these tiles in such a way that it kind of makes that formation, you succeed stuff. And it's very, very, very fun. Very, very cool. 2-player only game. I think you would like that one a lot, Matt. There's a lot of interaction in there. Very fun stuff. I'd say those are all of my honorable mentions.
Very cool. All right. So I've got Radlands. Have you played Radlands?
No, I've heard of that, but I haven't played it.
So good. Yeah, it's a 2-player card battling game with lanes. It's like lane battling, which reminds me a little bit of Soulforge Fusion, but basically it's like a neon pink neon pink is kind of the art style, like neon punk.
Okay.
And then it's like post-apocalyptic, like Mad Max Fury Road art.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so the art is beautiful. It's by Manny Tremblay, who did the art for Wonderland the War.
Ooh.
So like it's gorgeous. Ooh. Absolutely gorgeous on the table. But yeah, Radlands, so good and super combo-y, and it's a game where like it's so hard to get anything done that anytime you do get anything done, it's so rewarding. You're trying to set something up for like a couple of turns and like, bam, you like take out one of their bases or whatever. Wow. But yeah, super, super fun 2-player head-to-head lane battle.
Real quick, if you like a lane battler, I mean, it's not necessarily a lane battler, but I might suggest as one of the games you look into for small box games, looking into one called An Empty Throne. That's got some really cool lane stuff in it, and I really enjoyed that one. That one came out just a couple of years ago, and that's from Small Box Games, so you might want to check.
Oh, that's from Small Box Games, like from from that publisher.
From that publisher that we were talking about. Yeah. One of the rabbit holes to go down
for his publishing company. But...
well, he's been around forever, so maybe before Small Box Games was a ubiquitous term, he existed. So
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there you go. Scout. I mean, I think anybody who's in the hobby has heard of or played Scout. That is a game I throw in my bag pretty much anywhere that I go. That I think a game is it's just so small. It's from Oink Games. It's a ladder climbing, hand shedding game. And Ryan, you've played Scout, obviously.
Oh, many times.
Yeah,
Love
it's just
Scout.
the perfect little game. It's so good. We talked about Carl Chuddick. So Innovations, one of my all-time favorite games. I absolutely love that game. I talked about it on the pod many times, so not going to get into it, but definitely a great game. In terms of trick-taking games, Cat in the Box is, I honestly, it had like a little like flash in the pan where like everybody was talking about it, and then it kind of died, but I think it's like gone into like underrated territory now almost for me. It's so good. And yeah, I don't see it talked about very much anymore. And
yeah, agreed.
Another one that we talked Plurpy's name has come up quite a few times here today, but he's a mutual friend of ours who's a huge fan of trick-taking games and small box games, and has introduced both of us to a bunch of them. Robo Trick being one of my favorite. Like that, I honestly, it's right up there with Nikosu Dice in terms of my favorite trick-taking games. Have you played Robo Trick?
No, but I'll bet you can't get it either. All of his cool games you can't get.
I literally bought this one off of Plurpy. He had an extra copy or something, and literally bought it off of him at the first ever Nerdfest. And it's
really, it's only 3 players, huh?
It's 3-player only, except that it's actually 4 players because there's an AI robot that plays the 4th player. And
interesting.
It's really, really cool. Very quickly, everybody gets, obviously it's a standard trick taking must follow, with a card flipped over off the remaining cards to like give you the trump. But there's a stack of like, I want to say 12 robot cards, and you flip one over at the beginning of the round and you place that in between you and the player to your left. And that creates a robot player in between the two of us, let's say. Then you deal that robot in as well. So you deal everybody in and the robot. And then the robot's cards are all face up. So you put their suits together in numerical order and you put them all face up. So we know what the robot has in their hand. And then each of these robot cards will tell you how the robot will play. So there's 3 different categories. So it'll say if the robot is leading, it will lead with its highest card.
Okay.
And then if there's a tie there, it'll say then from its shortest suit. So the highest card from the suit that he has the least of, or the most of, whatever that robot happens to be doing.
Sure.
If the robot is following, it will follow with its lowest card or its highest card or its whatever card. And if the robot is not following or cannot follow, it'll play its highest card of whatever suit, or its highest suit or lowest suit or whatever. So it'll basically, the robot is completely 100% predictable. You know what it's going to do.
Yeah.
So what you're trying to do is win cards off the robot. So whoever wins a trick will take the robot's card and place it face up in front of them for positive points. So if I win the red 10 off the robot, I get 10 points. If you lose to the robot, everybody takes the card that they played back face down in front of them for negative points.
Ooh.
So sometimes just the way that the robot gets dealt cards and the way that they play cards, they'll just run the table, and we'll just get your whole hand back as negative points.
That sounds funny.
It is funny. Yeah. But so it's a game that like sometimes you just have to be the biggest not loser. Or the least loser, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So you're trying to win cards off the robot, and only their high cards, because you can only ever have 3 face up cards in front of you. So as soon as you have 3, your 4th one goes face down for negative points. Your 5th one face down for negative points. So you can't just run the table either. You have to very strategically and be very careful about which cards you're actually going to win and when. And if you're going to lose to the robot, you're trying to lose with low cards so that you don't have too many negative points.
Sure.
So yeah, that's another game where as soon as we're 3 players, I'm like, oh, we're 3 players. I'm reaching for Robo Trick every time. It's so good.
Awesome, man. Yeah, look, you can't really get this game. So in true Plurpy fashion, it does not exist. There you Also, I mean, he's got a couple. Have you played his Trick Takers?
I've play tested a few of them, but I don't remember their names or.
Yeah, he's got the 3 Tricky Pigs coming out.
Yeah.
And then Tricky Kids
of that one. I think he just got a prototype.
Beautiful. It looks
really
so
cool.
good. Oh yeah, it looks so good. And then Tricky Kids, where you're like writing the numbers of the you're writing in the values of the cards themselves yourself.
Okay, that one I've not seen.
So cool. They're amazing. I love both of them. I really loved 3 Tricky Pigs, and Tricky Kids is
I tested.
Very cool. Yeah, very cool games. Which is, super awesome to see you guys designing stuff and games coming out from you guys. It's like,
yeah,
awesome.
It's fun for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's pivot to the movie of the pod. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
All at Once
has become one of my all-time favorite movies. I watched it last night, and it keeps getting better.
Agreed.
I laughed this time more than I ever laughed previously. I found it way funnier. And I don't I'm thinking maybe it's because the absurdity of it all kind of you feel like you're just getting bombarded by the wackiness maybe the first couple of times, because this was my 3rd time watching it. Okay. So I think this is probably the first time where I've sat down fully knowing what to expect, knowing what I'm getting into, and I was able to kind of take in the humor and maybe the subtlety of some of the stuff that was going on that I hadn't previously. But yes, suffice it to say, Everything Everywhere All at Once is a brilliant movie. So the synopsis says on Letterboxd here, the universe is so much bigger than you realize. An aging Chinese immigrant is swept up in an insane adventure where she alone can save what's important to her by connecting with the lives she could have led in other universes. So I'm going to throw the ball in your court a little bit here. What's this movie like? What is the plot of this movie? Could you even?
Yeah, that did not do anything. It's so funny. That little synopsis was like nothing at all.
And I like that it's vague, because I don't want a synopsis or a trailer to give everything away,
Do we want to spoiler warning people, or do they know at this point to expect spoilers? What do you think?
I think for this movie, if we're going to talk about it at all, we just got to spoil it off the hop. So if you haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, it's one of our favorite movies of all time. It is a wacky multiverse adventure, comedy, action. I mean, it's got a little bit of romance. It's got a little bit of family drama. It's got a little bit of everything, everywhere, all at once. So,
zing!
Check out the trailer. I don't think the trailer gives anything away, and not that it could, anyways. The plot is so wacky and out there that I would say check out the trailer. And
I feel like the only way to talk about it is to spoil it.
Sure,
I mean, I feel like we have to. So yeah, what I would say honestly is the movie is at its core, it's kind of about, family togetherness and realizing that the enormity of the world doesn't matter so much as does the people that you care about the most, and that's like this tiny little kernel that's shrouded in this giant marshmallow of, nonsense and like Matt said, wackiness and craziness and insanity. And it's all hurtling down this steep mountain, on it's like a roller coaster or a mine cart, and the wheels are constantly lifting off the tracks. And you feel like at any moment it's just going to tumble down and it's all going to come apart. Yeah. And it doesn't, and it somehow stays on the whole time and comes in for a landing, and you're at the end of it, you're exhausted because it's just like, what the hell did I just see?
Just happened?
What was that?
It's a movie that happens to you.
It happens to you. It happens to you. You watch it, you finish it, and the first time you see it, you're like, "What? Did I like that? What the hell did I? What the was that?"
Yeah,
and then you watch it again, and you're like,
thinking, I had so much
"Okay."
fun, but I don't.
Yeah.
I have no idea what just happened.
I remember I was like, Natalie, you have to see this. You have to, like, you must. But I cannot tell you if you walk out of it and you're like, I don't think I like that. I think I might be like, yeah, okay, that's fine. But it's still something. I feel like it's one of those movies. I feel like everybody needs to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs to watch this movie. It's a movie that. Matt? What were you saying about? There was a game you were telling me about. You were like, oh no, it was a movie. It was that movie with Jake Peralta, Palm Springs.
Palm Springs.
You were like, don't look it up, just watch it. I kind of agree with that for this movie.
Yeah.
I probably showed 10 people this movie when it was in the theaters. I was like, come with me and watch it because I need to know if my thoughts on this are crazy or not. I think this might be the best movie that's ever existed. And I need somebody else to come with me and tell me if I'm crazy for saying that. Because I think I feel that way. I think in a lot of ways, this might be the best movie ever shot. It's so incredible. It's so insane, and it's so smart, and it's ridiculous. And there's hot dog fingers and googly eyes and Raccacoonie and Simul ripping out Alpha Jumper's butt plugs. And I mean, it doesn't stop, and I just love every second of it because somehow, somewhere, everything I just said there, it makes sense. Somehow it all makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, Raccacoonie, like, oh my god, I can't even get over how funny that is. Like,
I don't even understand
to think of that.
What?
Oh my
Well,
god!
and I've watched the movie 5 times, maybe 6 times, and I don't even understand where she did. So, why did she say that? Was it because she was everywhere at that point, and so she just like forgot which was the original thing from her universe? Yeah. Why did she say Raccacoonie?
Yeah, I think at that point she was starting to
like bifurcate and split everywhere.
Yeah, and so she was starting to be everywhere all at once, right? She was getting there. She wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't think she internalized or fully understood what she was seeing or what she was experiencing, but she was getting there. And whether it was subconscious or conscious, that thought popped into her head, and she got it confused with the movie with
Ratatouille. Yeah, we're not really doing a good job for the listeners here, I guess. But there's this moment where the lead, Michelle Yeoh, the lead of the movie, is trying to tell her husband Ke Huy Quan and her daughter Stephanie Sue. She's like, the situation that's happening is just like that movie Raccacoonie, where the raccoon's on the chef's head and pulling him and making him, and they're like looking at her like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about Ratatouille? And she's like, no, Raccacoonie. And they're like, what the hell? But the reason she says that is because the premise of this movie is you can do this thing called verse jump. Okay. This one, like Matt was talking about in multiverse theory, every decision that is made, it branches off into another universe, another separate universe within this multiverse. Yeah. And so the first one of these to discover that there was all these different universes in the multiverse was this universe called Alphaverse. And the evil person of the movie, Stephanie Sue's character, she starts verse jumping into these different spots. Michelle Yeoh is like, go to this universe, check it all out, let's learn everything we can. And she pushed her too hard and made her do it too much. And then something happened where, you're making somebody's brain split as you're going into these different universes, and it's like messing with them. And her brain basically broke down, and she kind of became a god. She became literally experiencing every single multiverse where she exists at the same time. And so for that reason, she can't really die, because if she dies in one universe, she still exists in an infinite number more. There's So she probably dies in 1,000, universes, but when she does that, there's 10 billion more of her created. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she's going through and she's basically causing all this chaos and havoc within the multiverse. And so the basic story of the movie is Ke Huy Quan's character from the Alphaverse comes into the universe that I know he's in the universe that we see the movie start in. So the movie starts where Ke Huy Quan and Michelle Yeoh run this
Laundromat.
they run this laundromat, and they're just, they're up to their ears and taxes are, messed up and they're being audited and they have to go to the IRS to, see Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and it's all bad stuff happening. And then suddenly Ke Huy Quan's character like wakes up as he's verse jumped from Alphaverse into this universe. And he's like, talks to Michelle Yeoh and he's like, hey, this is going to sound crazy, but I'm from a different universe and we need you. You're the only one who can save the multiverse. And she's like, what the heck? What are you talking about? Who are you? And that's how the movie kind of begins, going, from this normal, workaday movie to it just like this craziness starts. And he teaches Michelle Yeoh how to verse jump. And then she starts going into different multiverses to try to run away from Stephanie Sue's character, Jobu Tupaki. And it gets absolutely insane as they try to figure out why this evil, the evil character of the movie is trying to destroy everything. And I mean, I'm exhausted already and I've said nothing.
Yeah, so basically, the Jobu Tupaki character played by Stephanie Sue, because she has and is experiencing all of the universes and all the versions of herself, basically has come to the conclusion that with all of this happening, what's the point? Like, what's the point of anything? Especially because her character and her relationship with her mom has never been good, and I think in any of the universes, that's been sort of a constant, or mostly a constant. And so she doesn't come from a place that has a ton of
togetherness and family, and
even though it's there, it's not spoken and it's not acted upon, like the family love, right? Like the family cohesiveness is there, but it's never acted upon or spoken out loud. And that's kind of, from what I understand, the experience of the Chinese immigrant, which is a huge part of this as well, where like the grandfather, Michelle Yeoh's father, basically spent his whole life, not connecting with his daughter because of the culture where they come from or whatever. It's like the standards are so high, and you haven't lived up to our expectations. And that's something that, I mean, I can't speak for myself, but from what I understand, that's part of the Chinese culture. And that was kind of passed down from Michelle Yeoh's character to her daughter, who's, as they said in the movie, she's stubborn and she's a mess and she's aimless, and she's a lesbian, right? And all of these things are tough for Michelle Yeoh to swallow. And even though it's clear and obvious right from the beginning that she loves her daughter and she wants the best for her, she does not act or say anything that would back up that feeling or that thought. So Stephanie Sue just does not feel love from her mother at all. So I think combination of that and the fact that obviously she's like experiencing all of the universes at once, she's
at the same time
decided that, like, what's the point? So one of the major themes of this movie is nihilism and like pretty dark stuff of like, suicide and like
nothing matters and I believe in nothing.
So like, does anything matter? What actually matters? What keeps us going? Those are all super obvious themes in the movie. And then like, over the course of the movie, you see that like one of the other major themes of the movie is the unconditional love of a parent. even if it's really difficult. For example, your daughter is Jobu Tapaki, or as she calls her, Joju Chewbacca.
She messes it up every time.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, every time.
It's a nice gag to throw in there.
It's hilarious.
You're a Chinese immigrant and your daughter's a lesbian, and you're sort of I don't know if ashamed is the right word, but she doesn't want to tell the grandfather because she's afraid.
He will be ashamed.
And so it's like sometimes really tough to love your own child. I mean, the love is still there, but it's tough to sometimes maybe show that or express that when they're acting and doing things that you did not expect. So unconditional love of a parent, I think, is a major theme in the movie as well. That
Agreed.
I think becomes really important. And then, yeah, like one of the lines that that kind of stood out to me was that every new discovery, and this is when they're rocks and discussing things as rocks. And it's funny because when the movie goes almost completely still and silent, and we just see two rocks discussing via like
text, yeah,
just via text or via what do you call that? Closed captioning or
captioning?
Subtitles is what I'm looking for.
Subtitles, yeah. Subtitling rocks. What the hell? When that happened in the theater for the first time, and the whole theater just goes silent, and you're just reading, and it's just like, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
I've never seen anything remotely close to anything that resembles anything like this.
No,
ever.
And the fact that it goes completely silent and everybody's just sitting in silence and reading,
captivated,
it hits harder.
It does.
Or the words that you're reading hit harder. So anyways, one of the things that stood out to me was that every new discovery is just a reminder that we're all small and stupid, and it's like goes back to like the memes we sometimes see where it shows like a little speck in like the universe with a little arrow that says that's you, and you see this like massive universe, and you're like, why does anything that I do even matter?
Right.
But it's the connection to those closest to us that actually matters. And that's what makes Evelyn realize she actually has so much because of her connection to Waymond, I guess. Is his
Waymond.
name.
Yeah. Waymond.
So yeah, it's like her connection to Waymond is kind of like what, for me, what I found grounded her in her reality and that sort of thing.
Yes, there was that moment where, so at the beginning of the game, at the beginning of the movie, she's kind of browbeating him a lot. He's trying to, his whole shtick has been trying to be positive and be happy and keep everything light and fun. And that really irritates Michelle Yeoh's character, and she doesn't like that. And that's one of the reasons that she, you can kind of tell she hates her life in a way, at the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. And as the movie goes on, the craziness of the movie is happening, right? Where she's verse jumping like crazy. She's getting all of these abilities. She's, she's like a kung fu fighter at one point. She is able to do all these crazy, cool, fancy moves. But then at this one moment toward the end of the film, there's this theme that keeps recurring of these googly eyes that Ke Huy Quan's character puts all over everything in the laundromat at the beginning. And much to Michelle Yeoh's dismay, she hates it. She hates so much. At one point, she literally says, "No more Google eyes," as she rips them off of wherever they're on and throws them. And then toward the end of the movie, she's like, she's feeling nihilistic, I think, a lot, as she's, coming to grips with being everywhere herself and coming and thinking like Stephanie Sue's character, Jobu Tapaki, where, what does any of this matter? Why are we, and then he kind of grounds her and brings her back he roots her in this one kind of thing of, we got to be kind and we have to, be true to each other, and let's just have fun and do, be positive and be nice to everybody.
Yeah.
And she kind of just like,
the word that kind of keeps,
yeah, and she gets it suddenly, and then she puts a googly eye right in the middle of her forehead, which is all this bagel, imagery that keeps happening. Right. And
the third eye, representing awakening.
Yep, awakening kind of thing to something happening, and so she then changes completely, and the whole tenor of the movie shifts right then from this nihilistic viewpoint where nothing matters and everything's just a waste to oh my gosh, there's hope. And then you almost like kind of see like sprouts grow. That's like, okay, this is something else. Something's happening. We're rebuilding here. And she kind of saves all these characters in this one great scene, where she's moving up towards this bagel of doom to try to save her daughter. And she saves all these individual characters. One of them is Daniel, what's his name? Daniel Shiner. Is that that one of the directors?
Yep.
Who's plays a very S&M, enthusiast in the movie, which is really funny. And the other Daniel, he's actually makes a cameo as well. He's the first guy that gets sucked in by the bagel at the end, which is pretty funny. But so she kind of like the tenor of the movie changes because of Ke Huy Quan and his let's be kind to everybody, and it just grounds her and kind of rescues the whole movie, and then it becomes this family friendly thing.
And well said. And like this being the third time I've seen it and knowing what to expect and not feeling like my head's being shaken and my face being slapped for the whole time, I was actually able to take in a lot more of the like important themes and the emotional stuff, right? And some of the stuff that really stuck out to me is that at the end he has his big speech, right? Ke Huy Quan, who I freaking love. Like,
oh my god, he's amazing.
Guy,
he's amazing.
Oh, he's like so charismatic and just like he is my guy. Like he's my favorite character by far in this movie, and I just love the way he talks and his positivity, and he's like he's just like what I aspire to be in terms of like being kind to people and just like being positive and proactive and that sort of thing. So just like being like the whole glass half full kind of mentality, right, is something that I pride myself in. And to see that on screen as not shown as a weakness in the end, I think was really cool.
Yeah, becomes the savior of the whole thing.
Yeah. So he's having his big speech and he's talking about how everyone's fighting because they're scared and confused. And his message to Evelyn is that we have to be kind. Please be kind, especially when we don't know what's going on and we're scared and confused. So that stood out to me, especially in the world that we're living through right now and what's going on geopolitically and with some of the leaders in the world. It's just like kind of a scary spot, and that really stood out to me of like, please be kind, especially when you don't know and you don't understand what's going on and you're scared. So I thought that was kind of a cool line for a character that's kind of presented as being weak throughout the whole
and bumbling
movie. And finally his weakness is actually turns out to be the strength, right? And then maybe my favorite line of the movie is when Michelle Yeoh is in the laundromat near the end of the movie, and she's talking about her daughter, and she says, you're stubborn and you're aimless and you're a mess, but thankfully the universe gave us someone kind, so at this moment the camera's showing Stephanie Sue's girlfriend, and then cutting back to Waymond, and she says like, thankfully, despite being aimless and being a mess and being stubborn, thankfully the universe gave us someone kind, patient, and forgiving to make up for what we lack.
Yeah, which is good because there's some times that Michelle Yeoh is terrible to Waymond. Oh man, she says some things that are they just
and
make
to her
him
daughter too. Yeah, like
for
and
sure.
like,
Horrible
it's
things.
Clear by the end of the movie that she says most of those things with love, like she's saying it because she cares, but the delivery and everything like that wrong. Is just like really, really tough to swallow. But yeah, that line stood out to me because I'm a bit aimless and I'm a bit of a mess. And I say a bit of, but I'm a mess and I'm aimless and I'm stubborn and and my wife is that to me, You know, she's the one
Yeah.
that kind of grounds me and keeps me focused and makes up for what I lack. So that
Yeah.
kind of, you know, and I took a quick video of that line and I sent it to my wife and I said, thank you for being that person to me.
Yeah,
So,
this is you. Nice. You're getting sex tonight, man. For sure. I like that what you're taking away from all the craziness of the movie is that line, because I do think if you squint, that's what you see. You know what I mean? You got you like open your eyes wide and you're seeing all this crazy imagery and all this stuff. And you'll find out more on your 5th and 6th. Like I just went through it for the 6th time. I feel like this was the first watch where I was crystal clear going through it all and going, I understand everything now, why this is happening, how they're doing it, what does that line mean? Now I get it. You know, there's so many really cool things. It's just the movie just opens itself up to you. It's almost like a budding flower every time you watch it that just like gets even more and more beautiful every time you see it. And that's not to say it's perfect. You know what I mean? It almost loses itself along the way. You know what I mean? Again, I think
of the like minecart is perfect because it feels like it's going to fall off the rails so many times, and it just hangs on.
It somehow
by a pinky finger.
It somehow. Yeah. Wow, that was perfect. Exactly. By a pinky finger, it manages to hold on. But yeah, I can. But so because of that, because of like you have to squint to see the like, oh my gosh, this is genius.
The depth, yeah.
This is what they're trying to tell me by squinting. But on a first watch, if you're I don't even know how to explain it. It's always going to be fun, but I really think it will lose people on a first watch who are, you know, maybe coming in as almost like a non. You know what I mean? Like someone who's just like, okay, let's watch. You almost have to know what you're getting into. Like, okay, this is going to be a nonstop roller coaster thrill ride that you can get a lot out of if you look for it. Are you prepared for this? You know. But like I said, it almost loses itself a few times. It almost all gets sucked into the bagel. You know, and I think maybe that's intentional. You know, the plot of the movie itself is about almost losing yourself before ultimately coming back around to what's most important. And I feel like the movie itself does this as well. All the Raccacoonie stuff, the ups and downs and weird stuff that happens, it almost doesn't work. But then it does.
It does somehow.
The rails stay on. Yeah, it makes sense. You can follow it. It's self-indulgent, but it's not pretentious. It hits you over the head, but it's incredibly thought-provoking. At the same time, it's confusing with exactly what universe Evelyn is in at what time. Like I just realized on this, which was like my 6th watch, that the universe they're in at the end of the movie is actually a direct adjacent one.
It's not. Yeah, it's not the original.
Yeah, they're not in the original.
In the original, she punches, and that's the
Deirdre.
She punches Deirdre. The what's the
Jamie Lee Curtis character?
What's the organization?
Yeah, IRS. The IRS. Yeah.
So it's CRA in Canada, so I was like,
oh right, I forgot. Yeah, it's weird you don't have the IRS. Yeah.
So yeah, she punches an IRS worker in the face in an IRS building. Like, there's no coming back from that. She's going to prison.
No. Yeah. Yeah, you're donezo.
So like,
you gotta get out of there.
That moment happened on this watch. I was like, how do they come back from that?
Right, because you don't think about that the first couple times.
Yeah.
When at the end of the movie, when they bring it back to
lose track of that.
yeah, you lose track, and they come back to the laundromat for the Chinese New Year or whatever they're doing. You kind of assume like, oh, this is just they're back to normal, but no, that's a different universe that they're now going to build.
Where she didn't.
I think it's the one over. Yeah, it's the one over where they went home.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, it's that one because. They never came back, right? And then Deirdre runs into the laundromat and she's like, you missed your appointment and what's going on? And then they find out, you know, what happens. Yeah. And so that at the end, I didn't realize that until this watch that's what, because I was like, I'm understanding now so much more. But the movie it's just like, it moves really erratically. And it's all you can do to understand the way the physics work and the verse jumping and how they can literally be everywhere. And so you kind of lose exactly like where they are at certain times.
I was
and
listening
so
to an interview with the Daniels. So that's what they call themselves, the Daniels.
the Daniels, yeah.
Directed by the Daniels, or maybe even just Daniels. Anyways, I was listening to an interview with the both of them, and they were talking about how a multiverse story is almost impossible to tell because, like, why do you care about this universe and not that universe and not that universe and not that universe, but you just care about this one, right? And something happens where she like punches a girl in the face and all this stuff, and then they were really smart on the script to just go to that adjacent universe, and then we shifted what we care about to that universe. But like in that universe, she kind of makes up with her daughter and she makes up with Waymond and they don't get divorced and she figures out her tax stuff. But like in a million other universes, it all goes to hell probably, and she's in jail for punching Deirdre. And Waymond's in jail too for beating up all the security guards with his fanny pack.
That scene was so awesome. The fanny pack fight scene.
So
when you first figure out that verse jumping is doing weird shit. You have to do all right. So you can't just. I talked about verse jumping, going to a different universe. The reason they're doing this is to basically take on the abilities of their whatever counterpart of theirs is in a different universe, right? So if there's infinite, I should say, infinite, universes, there exists a universe where you're a badass fighter, but to access that universe,
tap into it,
you have to tap into it somehow, and they've figured out the way to tap into these universes is by giving yourself a paper cut between each finger, or taking out a roll of chapstick and eating it, or by sitting your butthole onto a trophy, or by taking the boogers from your dad and putting them in his mouth. And so that's what activates the verse jumping. And so Waymond does this when he punches, Michelle Yeoh punches Deirdre. The first time you actually see how to verse jump is Waymond taking out this chapstick tube, and he unrolls it all the way and then eats it. And then boom, he activates and he becomes like this Jackie Chan fighter.
Yeah.
I think that scene might have been, did Jackie Chan have a hand in that scene?
I think it goes that they originally had Jackie Chan in mind to play the lead.
Oh, to play Michelle Yeoh's character. That's
Michelle
right.
Yeoh's character. So that's who. I don't know if it was like, I don't know how far they got down the line of like whether he was unavailable or they just didn't go. They decided not to, or whatever the case. But they originally had Jackie Chan in mind, which would have.
Well, maybe he just inspired this fight scene, because this fight scene, he just uses his fanny pack and beats the living shit out of these agents who are coming to arrest them, for punching this IRS agent right in the mouth. And that's where the movie just takes off and just like, whoo, and you're just on a nonstop minecart thrill ride of epic proportions.
Yeah, I love the whole verse jumping thing where they have to do something weird. It works perfectly in two ways. Logically, it makes sense. If you do something that you would never do ever, 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 and now I'm going down a rabbit hole in my own head here, but that creates a whole bunch of universes just doing something weird.
Yep,
like
just doing that.
But it creates this weird ripple in the universe to be where it's like, this person would never do that. Why is it doing that? So it almost calls attention to that individual, and then they're able to tap into that individual and connect them to somebody else. So that's genius in the premise of like how to do it. But also it's hilarious and works so perfectly to just like for the laughs. It's hilarious. It's like there's so many funny moments that have to do with exactly that. The other funny moment that I wanted to call out was the when two people have their like Bluetooth thing disconnect, or they disconnect from their
and then they're just like
both of them don't know how to fight.
There's
so they're just like slapping each other and like no idea what to do.
So that's so funny.
I mean, there's so much funny stuff. The hot dog fingers, Rakakuni, all the weird stuff they have to do. I mean, I wrote down a category here as I was watching the movie. I'm like, things as weapons. Fanny Pack. Golf club. Riot Shield is a spinning sign.
Riot Shield as a spinning sign. That is such a
So
cool
perfect.
moment.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a scene. That's a great scene.
Giant double dildos. A Pomeranian dog on a leash.
Right, Jenny Slate's in the movie randomly.
yeah, I
Why is
forgot.
Jenny Slate? That's crazy.
Or quote unquote big nose.
Yeah, big nose,
Big
right.
Nose needs her ticket. An egg timer with a spatula and a wooden spoon. And pinky fingers, I wrote as
Pinky
a,
fingers.
as a weapon, yeah.
Man, that's so funny. Even your pinky fingers can be kung fu.
Yeah. So much good stuff in here. Trying to think of what other notes I had written down, but I think we've gone through a lot of them. Yeah, for me, like on the third watch, I'm actually excited to watch it again.
Yeah.
Because
you'll find stuff you missed.
I caught so much more in this one and actually hit me a lot more on the emotional side. I was like, oh, smokes. I didn't even realize, like, I loved this movie so much based on not even like internalizing
getting it fully.
any of the emotional stuff. Because I was just constantly recovering from what I had just seen.
Like I said, I think it might be the best movie I've ever seen. I think it might be.
I couldn't argue with you. It's a miracle that it's a miracle that this movie could even be made. That a studio would be like,
sure, let's do that. Yeah. Right. That sounds great.
Yeah, it's a literal miracle that this movie exists in the form that it does, and it's fantastic.
It succeeds on a lot of levels that you wouldn't assume on your first watch. Again, I think it needs 2 or 3, as a testament to what you're saying just now. And I've watched it again. This was my 6th watch. And I feel like I finally oh my gosh, I get it on levels that I didn't before. And I loved it. It was like a really fun thrill ride that I know nobody had ever seen anything like this. So I want to show it to you. But when you actually investigate it and sit with it and watch it and internalize it, and you find all the inner meanings that come out of it, it starts to you get emotional. It's
100%.
got something for everybody.
I definitely got a little misty last night for sure.
Right.
Especially when I saw myself in the relationship with Michelle or I guess Evelyn and Wayman but also their daughter and
Joy. Yeah.
And Joy. Yeah, exactly. Joy and what was I forget the
her girlfriend's name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Yeah. Anyways,
that'll be on my 7th watch.
And yeah, exactly. Cool.
Becky.
Becky. Wrap this. Becky. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, we'll wrap this up very shortly here. Any favorite? Do you have a favorite moment?
I mean, there are so many favorite moments. It's hard to pick one. If I had to pick one favorite moment, I mean, it's so funny when this is not my favorite, but it's so funny when Evelyn goes into the kitchen where Raccacoonie is on the guy's head and they're just singing together blah 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 Raccacoonie, and they turn around and they spot her and they're like and then Raccacoonie's trying to make him kill her.
Yes,
he's like, oh, I'm sorry, and he's stabbing her with a knife. That's so funny. And then she's on his head working him to run after the Raccacoonie truck. He's on the truck and she's running to save him, and then he gets on her head, and then oh my gosh, that I don't know that I've laughed that hard, you know what I mean? So but I mean, gosh, that's one. It's also so good, the scene.
Just the word Raccacoonie is one of the funniest words I have ever heard in my life, with the context of mistaking it for Ratatouille, and then it being a raccoon, and it's just beyond funny. Yeah.
I think my favorite moments, there's 2, I really think, and they're both kind of heavier moments. They're not funny moments.
Right.
When the movie ended, when I'm in the theater and it's the end, I'm oh my God, it's over. Yeah. I was okay, I cannot believe they're ending it right here. What the? And then you just realize, oh, they're just in the theater. Yeah. That was kind of mind blowing to me. Yeah. It was a meta moment, but it caught me. It got me. It really got me.
Yeah.
And then the first moment that they go to the rocks, because as Matt was saying, you know, they're jumping all over the place into every different version of themselves. One of the what Jobu Tapaki, Joy's Stephanie Sue's character says is that most of the universes are not able to sustain human life. Most of them,
Right.
So she's like, "Where are we?" Evelyn's like, "Where are we?" She's like, "Oh, we're just rocks. We're in a universe where humans could not exist, and that's most of them actually." And that just kind of like got to me a little bit.
Yeah.
But then when I first saw that rock scene, I was like, "This is something special." You know, I think that's when I was like, "There's something special going on with this movie," and it was that. You know.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, a couple of different things. One, just to stay on the like emotional side of things, when we're in the universe where she's an actress and she never had a daughter.
I was gonna say that one too. That's
kind
a
of
good
the safe
moment.
universe because Jobu Tabaki can't go there because Joy doesn't exist there.
Right.
Her kind of few conversations that she has with Wayman, I think, are really, really cool. And there's one line in particular where at closer to the end where he says, hopefully I get this right, but he says like, I would have loved
doing taxes
to
with
just
you.
do laundry and taxes with you.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool moment.
I think that sums the movie up. That line kind of sums that. When he said that to her, she was kind of like, "Oh my gosh, I was just getting lost in what could have been, what my life could have been without you, and you have a great life. We both have great lives in this one.
Yet they seem lonely, right? They're not.
Yeah. Yet we're both lonely, and you're telling me now. So I have everything. All I want is to just have a mundane life that's, you know, with you in it."
Yeah. And the other little moment I want to call out when I laughed out loud, and it was at the very beginning of the movie. Michelle Yeoh, I think, is upstairs in her apartment, probably talking to her daughter, and we see the security cameras in the background.
Yeah,
and
where he's going crazy.
First moment that we see Wayman's character become Alpha Wayman, where he's like a ninja and whatever, and all of a sudden in the background you just see him like basically doing parkour across the laundromat, jumping across things and jumping up things or whatever, and it's very subtle in the background, but I noticed it maybe for the first time in this watch, and I like really like laughed out loud. I thought that was so funny.
I remember seeing that in my first view at the theater, and I was like, "What is happening? Like, what? This is crazy." Yeah. I mean, how can you not die laughing at Evelyn and Deirdre in the hot dog finger universe where they're playing piano and they're putting their feet all over each other's face? Or they show the what is it? The movie what's the movie? Space Odyssey or
Oh yes, yeah.
Right, where the 2001, where like the monkeys with the hot dog finger are killing the regular handed monkeys, and that's how the hot dog people finger people came to be.
So stupid, but funny. So smart and so funny. Yeah, I mean, we could probably talk about this movie all night.
Yeah, we could go on and on and on.
Do you have any nitpicks? Anything? Like, honestly, I find that for me, it's so out there and so wacky, and the fact that anything and everything could happen all at once. I feel like I need to say that every time, but like it almost
satisfying.
It almost is a shield that like can explain anything. There's very little that I came away thinking, like, other than like the frenetic nature of it and the fact that I needed to watch it 3 times to even get to the emotional core of this movie. Maybe
that's my only critique as well.
Maybe that's my only critique, but like, is that a bug or is that a feature? Because for me, it makes it like rewatchable, and I can enjoy this movie so many more times.
And you enjoy it that first time, you know, that first time you're not just like, well, this is stupid. Yeah, for a completely different reason. But I think that's my critique is I think it's like I said, I've been saying this over and over. It almost comes off the rails. It's almost a little overwrought, at times. There's some parts that I think if you're not paying attention, you're confused. You know what I mean? If you're not like looking at what's going on, you're kind of like, what is happening? And then I think you could tune out and zone out. That's my only gripe, I think, with the movie. Otherwise, like I said, I think it might be the best movie that's ever been made.
Yeah, and the only other maybe thing is like, with a movie with this complex plot and a premise, like a lot of stuff has to be explained. So there's a handful of scenes where Waymond is like explaining things with the cracking pot and
Right.
and a handful of like other things, but it's like whether it's in the closet or when they're hiding in that boardroom eating the bagels, there's a handful of scenes where they're
all the cows are dead.
Yeah, and he's like,
he's drinking oh my god, a cream cheese. Oh, he's just drinking the half and half. That's so funny.
There's so many not so many, there's a handful of scenes where the exposition is required, but honestly, like, I don't think those, again, the movie is so frenetic and so fast paced that those are moments where you can actually breathe for a second.
Yeah.
And just like take a minute to take in what's going on. So yeah, again, super maybe minor nitpick, but like how else are you going to explain all of this, right? It's like that's also the big weakness of Inception, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, but there's so much exposition that needs to happen. Basically, the first 3/4 of that movie is exposition, almost completely, like, or half. The first half of the movie is almost completely exposition, but it sets up this like third act that is like mind-blowingly incredible, and you follow everything that's going on because of that first half. So for that similar reason, I think you give that a pass in this.
I agree. Yeah, I completely agree.
Cool. Any final thoughts?
I love it.
Do you? Oh.
I love this movie. Again, best. I think it's maybe the best movie ever made. I'm talking myself into saying this is maybe my favorite movie. It certainly has been ever since it came out 2 years ago. 2 years ago now, I think. 3 years ago, maybe. And
2022, yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely think I don't know that we'll see anything this good in a vast number of years. I don't know.
Yeah, in a world where we're like, in a world where like the studios are constantly churning out, and it's slowed down, but they're constantly just churning out existing IP over and over
sequels
and over again,
or
and giving you like light fluffy popcorn that's like 4-quadrant fluff that's just made to make money. It's not made to be a masterpiece. It's not made as art. It's made as a money making machine, right? And I'm saying this as Marvel movies because it's the easiest target, but it's like by far not the only studio
culprit. There's a ton.
This is just so refreshing, like something so original. Is this the only way to put it? Cool. Yeah. So I have this as a 5 out of 5. It's almost a perfect movie, and it's one of my all-time favorites, and I could easily see it climbing the ranks as I watch it more, because it definitely, I had this as a 5 out of 5 from the get-go the first time that I watched it, and it's gotten better in subsequent watches.
It's a 6 out of 5 now.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I assume you're 5 out of 5 as well, Ryan.
I was going to do some joke and be like, yeah, it's a 3, but no, I mean, it's a 5, 100%. It's and I'm one of those kind of people. I don't like to give perfect ratings for things, too often, because I typically think there's always something that you could like better. But this is 5 out of 5. This is as good as it gets, in my opinion.
So inspired by the Gamecasters, I wanted to finish the pod off with a game that I sort of kind of stole from the Gamecasters. At one point, you had a game where I believe you had made up some board games.
Oh, board gamer bullshit.
Board game. Okay, yeah, that's the one. Board gamer bullshit. So I called this In a World.
In a world,
exactly. So hopefully I'll find some like cheesy maybe 80s like trailer music to put behind this. But yeah, so I'm gonna, with the help of ChatGPT, I made up some fake movies, but I also found some really obscure weird movies that exist for real. And so I have 5 movies here, and you're going to tell me if it's the real thing or if it's in some fake multiverse that doesn't exist.
I will get all of these wrong, but I'm excited to see what you have to say.
Okay. In a World. It's called Mazes and Monsters, 1982. Okay.
Mazes and Monsters. Okay.
This is Tom Hanks's first ever lead role.
Okay.
Okay, despite their personality differences, Kate, JJ, Daniel, and Robbie, played by Tom Hanks, are close college friends bound together by their pleasure in playing a game called Mazes and Monsters, which is obviously an analog for Dungeons and Dragons. In order to keep it interesting, they decided to take the game from the table into a real life setting. But soon the lines between reality and fantasy become difficult to differentiate. And what started out as just a game soon becomes a nightmare. Mazes and Monsters.
Mazes and Monsters. Okay, I see that it's trying to capitalize on the like satanic panic of D&D, which that would have the time would have been right in the early 80s. Although I was born in 1982, and as a 1982 baby, I know every movie that's ever been created in 1982, and I'm gonna say this one is bullshit. No way this is a movie. No way.
It is a real movie. Tom Hanks's first.
No, I know every 1982 movie that's been made. This is wrong.
Maybe it's in a different universe.
Yeah, we're in a different. Yeah, exactly. I was in a universe where Bosom Buddies was his first thing, and that was.
That's right. Okay. This one is called The Velvet Maze, 1990. In a world. When a reclusive teenage puzzle prodigy, played by River Phoenix, wins a trip to tour a mysterious toy factory, he finds himself trapped inside a sprawling velvet-walled labyrinth run by a cryptic former magician, played by John Malkovich. As each room forces him to confront unresolved childhood trauma through increasingly bizarre games, he realizes he may never leave unless he solves the factory's final riddle himself.
And what's this called? The Velvet Underground?
Maze.
The Velvet Maze.
1990.
1990.
Starring John Malkovich and River Phoenix.
I was 8 years old in 1990, and so I know every movie that was made in 1990, and I know for a fact that this is bullshit. No way this is a movie.
This one is bullshit.
That's a cool premise, though. I like the premise.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I'd watch that.
Me too. Yeah.
All right. So, Operation Grandpa, 1989.
Operation Grandpa.
Yeah.
That sounds ridiculous, which means it's probably a movie, but go ahead.
Okay. In a world when a cantankerous grandfather, played by Walter Matthau, fakes his own death to avoid being sent to a nursing home, his grandson helps him live in secret inside the walls of the suburban home. To avoid suspicion, Grandpa starts pretending to be the boy's imaginary friend, leading to school-wide panic about demonic possession.
Oh my God. Operation Grandpa.
Yeah.
All right, this sounds
1989.
ludicrous, nonsensical, and ridiculous. And now, gosh, I know every movie Walter Matthau's been in. And I can say for a fact, this is absolute nonsense. No, this does not exist.
You are correct. It's bullshit.
But that also sounds amazing.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
He has to live in the walls, and he becomes this
Imaginary friend.
imaginary friend. Walter Matthau, can you imagine him just living in walls? What the hell is that?
Yeah,
That's funny.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
And definitely like a premise, like in the late 80s of like a grandpa living in the walls. Movies in general think that like vents and walls are these like massive open spaces.
Right.
Just always.
Right.
Have you ever seen a vent
Exactly.
you can crawl into once in your
Right.
life?
Only like 80% of the time. Right. But most, the 20%, no, for sure. No, absolutely not. It's crazy.
All right.
That's so funny.
Okay. Tammy and the T-Rex.
Okay.
1994. After high school sweethearts Tammy, played by Denise Richards, and Michael, played by Paul Walker, are torn apart by a jealous ex, Michael ends up in a coma, only to have his brain implanted into a robotic Tyrannosaurus Rex
Come on.
by a deranged scientist. Now, a dino with a heart of gold, Michael rampages through town to reunite with Tammy and get revenge. Tammy
So
and
this
the T-Rex.
this Paul Walker dinosaur is trying to get to Denise Richards. Paul Walker in 1994.
94.
How
I don't know
old
how
is
old he
Paul
would have been.
Walker? Yeah, that sounds like
Let's
he'd
see,
be
Paul
young.
Walker.
I mean, Denise Richards.
He was born in 73, so in 94
Oh,
he would
damn.
have been 20,
Okay.
20-ish.
He's older than I thought.
And
actually.
he died in 2013.
Right. He was. I thought he was closer to my age, but I guess he's like a decade older. Denise Richards is about that old.
Yeah, I want to say
This
they're
is-
roughly the same age.
This sounds absolutely ridiculous that it should be baloney, which means it's a movie.
It is a movie. Can you believe that? I'm like,
No.
oh, I never heard of that.
Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. Oh my gosh, that is
All right.
crazy.
This is my favorite one. And obviously you'll have to guess whether it's real or fake, but this is my favorite one. It's called
Okay.
Tiptoes, 2003.
Okay, tiptoes.
Starring Matthew McConaughey and Kate Beckinsale,
Ooh,
as well as Gary Oldman and Peter Dinklage.
what a cast!
Okay, so Carol is blindsided when she discovered her boyfriend Steven's family is made up entirely of little people, including
Oh,
his
no.
outspoken twin brother Rolf, played by Gary Oldman, who, by the way,
Wait, did they midgetize him then, or
he
little
played the
personatize
whole
him?
role on his knees. When she becomes pregnant, Carol wrestles with the fear that their child might also be born with dwarfism, sparking tension in her relationship and drawing her closer to Rolf. As family secrets surface and loyalties shift, Tiptoes navigates a complicated and uneven love triangle set within a proud and close-knit dwarf community.
Okay, Gary Oldman, Peter Dinklage.
Mhm.
Who are the other actors in this movie?
Matthew McConaughey and Kate Beckinsale. are the
A-lister
leads.
Matthew. How would this never have seen the light of day? No, this is absolute nonsense. Not a movie. Not a chance.
It is a
No
real
way.
movie.
Oh my god!
I
gotta look it up right now.
This was the inspiration for this game because this came across. I don't remember where or why, but the trailer for this movie came across my feed somewhere or something, and I could not believe that it existed.
This cover looks. Are you sure this exists? The cover, Matt. I'm gonna put this in the Discord so you can see
It's
this.
so good.
The cover looks absolutely fake. It looks so fake.
And that's Patricia
Look in the
Arquette
Discord,
on the cover
right? Yeah,
too.
Patricia Arquette. What is?
Oh
but that
my
like,
God.
what is that nonsense? Tell me that doesn't look fake to you.
It does. Yeah, it doesn't look real at all.
That- is that-
directed by Matthew Bright It's the little things in life that matter. Is the tagline.
Oh no. Well, there's a lot of actors in that movie.
Yep. Yeah. So Gary Oldman on his knees. Yeah. And Matthew
I guess it was
McConaughey
2003, so
that seems like still too
too risky. To be that like
up.
heavy-handed with it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I think that's bullshit.
It's a 1.8 on Letterboxd, which is
whoa,
awful.
Whoa, what is it on IMDb?
Or on
yeah,
Rotten Tomatoes.
IMDb says 4.2 out of 10.
Yeah, and Rotten Tomatoes 22%. So that makes sense.
Wow, David Alan Greer's in it.
Yeah.
And he's only capable of playing a wacky character, so there's got to be some craziness in there.
Yeah, I could not believe this actually existed and it was a real thing. So that's the
perfect way
for this game. I couldn't wait to get to this one. I'm like, that's going to be the last one because it's too.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to end that. That's the perfect way to end that. So I bookended. I got the middle three and missed the first and last. Hey, that's fine. It's the little things that count, man. Which is really the tagline to Everything Everywhere All at Once.
You're right.
So you're just bringing it around full circle. It's just coming full circle.
Speaking of full circle, I meant to mention this at the moment, but then I think we went too long talking about the game in question. Yeah. When you were talking about Hadrian's Wall, I was on just about every game that you mentioned. I go on BGG and I just scroll through the pictures or whatever. One of the pictures in Hadrian's Wall on BGG is a picture of the cover with googly eyes on the character.
That googly eyes, there's a geek list, a few geek lists. I don't know how familiar you are with Board Game Geek, but there are really famous geek lists about a guy who puts googly eyes on famous box covers.
Okay.
The best one is Dune. You have the spice worm or the he comes out of the ground and there's two big googly eyes on it. Yeah.
That's great.
Type in board games with googly eyes BGG and you'll see it. It is game boxes made better with googly eyes. The first one you'll see is Dune. It looks like Cookie Monster. Yeah, it's called Game Boxes Made Better with Googly Eyes, right? And then if you keep going, just go through this. It's the funniest thing you'll ever see.
Yeah, Battlestar Galactica.
It's all so funny.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's some good ones. Yeah.
Yeah, it just gets funnier and funnier the more.
Ticket to Ride.
I know.
It looks like a demented Thomas the Train.
It does. Yep.
Oh
Castle Panic's really good. It's so Connect 4 is hilarious. It's the greatest thing.
There's just one on the end of the telescope.
Yeah, it's the funniest thing.
All right,
yeah,
we've
so
gone on way too long. We got to wrap this up.
Right,
man,
man,
off the rails.
for sure.
The movie stayed on the rails, but this podcast did not.
Again, it's all on theme.
That's right. Thank you so much for doing this, Ryan. I had an absolute blast. We'll have to have you on again, maybe when Jason.
Awesome, man.
Too.
Yeah, would love that. That'd be great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
This was super fun. So if you're enjoying this podcast, please take a few minutes to rate, review, and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. You can follow us on Instagram at Dice Camera Action Pod. And if you have any feedback, comments, or would like to suggest a movie game pairing for the future, please email us at dicecameraactionpod@gmail.com. I put a link tree in all of our stuff. So if you click on that link tree, it'll give you all the links to whether it's our Discord, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. It's all on there. So thanks, folks, for listening. This was fun. And thanks again, Ryan. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Have a good one.